Cristian en el juego canario.
Soy Diego en el juego de Diego B.
Well, let's start with me individually. I think part of the reason why I didn't do that well like last season was I had a lot of things on my mind. Since last season we didn't have a coach and we had a lot of things to adapt to for example 2 vs 2, which was completely new, like to competitive Clash Royale.
Yeah, last season the experience was really good. Since I started playing, the team started to do like really well and started to win 2v2 games.
In my opinion, Canario is one of the best, if not the best, in the world.
Escucharlo me hace sentir muy orgulloso e intentar ayudarles en todo lo que pueda para poder quedar primeros en la liga.
Es importante tener una persona que te ayude mentalmente para que nosotros solo nos enfoquemos en el juego. Quiero demostrar que somos el mejor equipo de todo el mundo.
Quiero demostrar los que somos e ir a por el primer puesto en esta liga.
I want to prove that with the right mindset and with hard work you can do everything.
I want to prove that we're the best team in the world.
Soy Jesús, mi nombre en el juego es Soking.
Hello, I'm Samuel, aka XOPXM.
Hey, I'm Morten, 18 years old and from Germany too.
My in-game name is Cavalifar and I'm the coach for SK Gaming. I come from Portugal.
He estado entrenando ya con ellos y tal, y le he visto las anteriores temporadas y la verdad es que estoy bastante contento con cómo trabajamos y con cómo trabajaremos seguramente.
It's obviously to be the first place. We're obviously gonna give our best and let's see what happens.
We're gonna see Sergio Ramos.
He's gonna be here soon enough, and definitely we're gonna see these four great individuals playing together for the first time also in the team.
This season, together with SK Gaming, I want to prove that I'm one of the best players in the world.
Esta temporada quiero demostrar que puedo ser campeón de nuevo.
This season I want to prove that SK Gaming belongs to this league and we have a spot on the top.
Okay guys, that was the interview with Team Liquid and SK Gaming. We'll see you next time on OGN Insider.
So disappointing. Fans have a right to laugh. This roster makes no sense. Disappointing. Sucks. They don't deserve to be in CRL. Free win. Worst team by far. And were they right? After losing to Tribe Gaming in the 2v2 of their first match, everyone felt right for discounting Team Dignitas. But then, 1 win, 2 wins, 3 wins. Oxalate, a CCGS champion, sweeps in King of the Hill. Dignitas was back in the game, and it came down to Tilted Eddie versus Tommy in a 1v1 for the tiebreaker.
And wow, there goes that tower. That's it, Eddie takes the first game. Tilted Eddie, Dignitas takes the day.
After another 2 straight wins by Tilted Eddie, Dignitas won their first match. They proved that they deserved this shot to be the best in the West.
After being critiqued so much on Twitter, being mean so much, we took a dub for the first match. Feels pretty good.
So this just makes everything feel so much better. Like every single one of us has been flamed in every different way. The team as a whole.
This is just the beginning. There's a lot more to come. I think we've proved we made a statement today, and we're ready for what's to come.
And Tribe and Complexity are the 2 teams that I have the most respect for and that I want to beat the most. So beating Tribe today was really awesome, especially with it being Ox's former team.
It was my team in the previous season, so it also made it a little bit spicy.
And spicy it was. Every game tick mattered in their epic match against Tribe. The quest for the crown has just started, and we'll see if Dignitas can continue their momentum, or will another team stop them? I'm Seltzer, and this was a match highlight. Subscribe to see more content and stay up to date with CRL West. Thanks for watching.
Hey everybody, good to see you. This is Clash Royale League West, and we're hanging unfiltered. We have the hard-hitting questions you've always wanted answered, and joining us right now from Team Energy, gonna make their debut today against Complexity. It's Busby, aka Hazard, one of my favorites. A fantastic gentleman. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah. And to kick things off here, my buddy Andrew has some very serious questions to lay down for my boy here.
This is serious business. So, when you were born, no, I'm just kidding. So actually, the first thing that I want to talk to you about is the change from season 1 to season 2. You know, you guys are about to make your debut. What did you learn from last season? Because you guys had a lot of kind of unfortunate losses. Things just didn't go your way. Yeah, I mean, last season for us, there were a lot of really close games. But I mean, from that, we just learned to keep pressing forward. We took every match like it was our first match of the season. And I think for this Yeah.
Now, here's the big question, and it's a question that everyone has in their mind. If you could BM anyone from history, who would it be and why?
Probably CMQ, just because we play each other all the time, and I haven't played him very often, and he's a good friend, so.
Hold on, anyone from history. I'm talking like you can go back and BM
Gandhi.
Albert Einstein or Gandhi or Moses. Yeah.
It's like I'd still BM CMQ.
Yeah, CMQ is still the greatest villain I've ever encountered.
He'll definitely be a top 3 up there. Maybe my brother. I don't know.
Yes.
I've always had a sibling rivalry with him. We're 15 months apart, so probably my brother in a fair match. Yeah.
Is he any good at Clash?
He's not bad actually. He's like maybe 4 or 5K. He's pretty underleveled for his trophy range, so he's still got some of that natural talent in him. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the big issues of controversy moving into Season 2 was that there were no ban cards. After watching a little bit of gameplay and obviously training, how did you feel about it leading up to the season? And then after it started, how did you feel actually when you saw games happening?
I mean, when I heard it originally, I was like, that makes no sense. It just takes out a level of strategy that was in there before. And then I think most people enjoyed, for the most part, like seeing what bans. I know I personally enjoyed experimenting with different bans, especially in
Right.
2v2 because of how hectic it can be. But now that I've actually seen it in game, I don't think it affects too much. I mean, 2v2 can still be a little bit more random because of it, but 1v1, sometimes it's harder to beat teams like Pain just because they're so good with Expo and Expo type variants. But for the most part, it just lets people play their more skillful decks. So I don't think it's that bad of a thing. I don't think it's necessarily good for League, but either way is fine.
Okay, so you're not from Southern California, but you're here for a while, enjoying the weather here, which is better than all of your weather, by the way. I don't care where you are, but put on a jacket or wear a tank top, whatever it is. We're doing great here. But beyond the weather, we have something great. It's called a California burrito.
Oh.
And the question is, A, have you had it? And B, do you believe fries do or do not belong inside a burrito?
I'll field this one. No, I'm just...
California burrito, and I've never heard of fries being in a burrito.
Oh my gosh.
Some people like some weird food. Maybe I'll try it. Probably not.
Hazard.
It just doesn't sound that appetizing.
Can we get him a California burrito? Is there one in? Yeah.
Right now!
Seriously.
No, I'll tell you right now, I had a California burrito for the first time when I moved to LA. It is the absolute best type of burrito. We're talking meta burrito. That is, if burritos had a meta, that would be the #1 deck
That's
selection.
like the hard counter?
That's the one. That's the one.
Talking about metas, so far we've seen a little data coming in from this first week of gameplay.
Yep.
And the most popular deck, by far, is RG Furnace. It's the most, it's very, very heavily played. Its win rate is also way down in the dumps, like in the low 30%.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's so popular, and why do you think the win rate is so low right now?
I mean, it's really popular because the deck has been pretty strong in the last few metas. It came up maybe 3 months ago before Morena Cup started. Then everybody started playing it. It's a fairly easy deck. It's super, super consistent. Like, it's one of the most consistent decks in the game. It doesn't have nearly as many bad matchups as something else like maybe Lava Clone that's more volatile. But the reason why I think it has one of the lower win rates is not only is it pretty easy to learn, so it's not like a specialist deck per se, but also everybody knows how to play against it. So it's not like, oh, I've never seen this deck before. I hope I know how to play against it. I'm going to make some new trick plays. It's fairly standard, and most of these guys know what to do in standard situations. So I think, yeah.
So you mentioned, Pain, and you mentioned ISPO, Expo, and talking about bans there. So that's another deck that you see a lot in Grand Challenges and on Ladder.
Yep.
Now, do you think that that's going to be effective here at CRL because all of you guys have played against it so many times? Do you know the ins and the outs? You know how to counter it despite what deck you're playing. Do you think that'll be effective at CRL?
I mean, I think it depends on a player-by-player basis. I think Carnage or someone like that will be pretty effective with it if he actually ends up pulling it out eventually. Although, I mean, I've been practicing it a good bit. I think I might be decent with it.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like I can draw pretty bad matchups, but especially with King of the Hill being the set that I'm going to be playing most, as I'm a mainly 2v2 player, I don't think it'll be as effective, because even if you draw a bad matchup, you might just lose single lowest, so it's not as good.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other big deck that's been around a whole lot, of course, is 2 other archetypes, Bridge Spam, just with a variety of variations, which is currently winning at above 60%. And then the Ram Rider version of Bridge Spam, all different variants, now, again, around 40% or so.
Yep.
Why do you think the Battle Ram Bridge Spam is performing better than the Ram Rider Bridge Spam?
I've actually talked to some players about this. I think Bridge Spam is one of the hardest decks to play against on stage, just because it applies so much pressure, and it's constant pressure. It's not like, oh, you have one bad push and then you have a counter push, right? Like against a Giant deck or a P.E.K.K.A deck. It is constant pressure 100% throughout the entire game. And that constant pressure, you're going to mess up eventually, even if you're playing in the comfort of your own home. When you're playing on stage with all these nerves, messing up is going to happen to the best of you. And especially against Bridge Spam, it's super punishing.
That's very. You don't even think about that when you're up at the booth. I mean, we do think about nerves. Talk about controlling nerves a little bit. Again, you have a whole season of CRL under your belt. You've performed in front of a lot of people. You've seen hundreds of thousands, almost over 1 million people have watched the games. How do you keep your nerves in check on that stage, especially with this beautiful new arena?
And do me a quick favor, Hazard, because I know people listening really want to get the whole answer here. When you're turning our way, just keep the microphone like you're like a robot here, nice and dialed in.
Yeah, we have the luxury of
we're very lucky.
I think with nerves, it comes down to being a team player and having your team supporting you. I mean, there's nothing that can help you more with nerves than just being a part of your team.
Really?
Having people support you, especially back home with your family, I think that's the biggest thing. And just, saying, okay, look, I'm good enough to have gotten here. That means I'm good enough to play here. And you just got to have confidence in yourself.
Talking about support and experienced guys around you, you and Carter have become a duo, not just a 2v2 duo, but you're a duo. Your identity in CRL is kind of tied to each other. Tell me a little bit about that relationship, that friendship, and how that translates to what you guys do on stage.
I mean, I think we have a great friendship and relationship, as most teams do that have been together for a long time. I mean, you look at people like Immortals with the RF and all crap. It's the same kind of deal. I think it helps a lot. I mean, I'm always down to practice with them. We can tell each other, hey, look, this was a bad play. And, it's never personal. It's always just trying to make each other better players.
We do that a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So with your 2v2, and I'll be honest, Rich and I are guilty of this, and don't hold it against us. You guys are kind of overlooked in the 2v2 set, even though, I mean, this season we've talked about last season and recognizing you guys are so incredibly powerful together when you look at your actual set records. But usually when the best 2v2 duos come up, it's, Aw Crap, the God RF. You hear about Colton and Razor a lot. How do you feel when Hazard and Carter usually aren't at the top of that list, when you guys perform at the top of that list?
I mean, it'll all come with time. I think it's really easy to overlook us. This last season, we didn't have the best 1v1. So, I mean, we didn't finish that well. And it's easy to pass us by. We may take a few games off of here, but, oh, well, those might be thrown to luck just because of our overall standing. Although I think with this season, with the 1v1 roster we've got going, I think our time will come for sure. And I think we'll be up there in conversation with all the rest of the team soon.
Love it.
So, Hazard, I'm a big fan of home renovation shows. And one of the most popular ones is Love It or List It, where either you love a house or you put it on the market when they do a renovation. So we're going to play a little Love It or List It here with some cards, and I want to get your opinion here. So first of all, let's start with a card that's going to be making its debut in competitive play, hopefully very soon. The Goblin Cage. Love it or list it?
Right now, list it. Not a favorite for me. I think for the most part, you want to cycle those types of cards. Like Tombstone, you can always play it. But Goblin Cage, I feel like if you cycle it, it's just a waste. A waste of 4 elixir. So list it for sure.
How would you use that card effectively, or are you not sure how to use it yet?
Not try to use it yet, honestly.
Okay.
I have no clue.
Fair.
Magic Archer. Love it or list it?
Love it. I think it's really fun. I don't think it's the best in the meta right now, but I think overall it's a really fun card, especially in 2v2. It gets a lot of value there.
Okay. What about the Ram Rider? Because it's the mechanics behind it are one of my favorite in the game, and you'll see a lot of 2v2 teams going to start to use it to replace buildings. What do you think about that?
Originally, I would have said to list it 100%, but I've been playing it a lot on my own, and especially in 1v1 practice, and I think I'll love it. Yeah.
Talking about 2v2, people were concerned that the lack of bans would make the 2v2 meta more stale.
Yep.
And so, last season, most of the season for 2v2 was either Golem or double RG once that came in. So far, we've seen a kind of a wider variety. Has that been your experience when you're viewing? And even with the Tornado and all the options, it seems like it's kind of expanding now.
Okay. I definitely think no bans helps a lot with expanding the 2v2 meta. I think it's probably a good thing for just variety. I don't think it's a good thing for strategy, but for variety, I think it's definitely a good thing. Sorry, I'm a little sick.
No, do your thing. Oh, you're
good
sick?
thing you're sitting next
don't
to
touch
us.
that.
Awesome.
No.
Awesome.
So you talk about the 2v2 and the meta and the bans not being in effect, but since, as you said, it gives you a wider spread variety of cards to play against, don't you think that kind of adds to the competition as well, since you can't game for it?
Well, I mean, it depends. It allows people to kind of fall back to their roots. realistically, if sorry, yeah, it's all right.
Hold on, here we go. You're at the caster's desk, so you get the caster's.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to show brand names, but just say it's a friend of an animal that lives in the sea. And this is what I use to keep it. Yeah, I want to see what you feel about this stuff. You know, it's not a pill. You suck on it or chew it or whatever.
Seahorse.
Oh, okay.
Seahorse lozenges.
I think for the most part,
that's pretty hardcore, isn't it?
Yeah, it is pretty hardcore. Not gonna lie, it's pretty strong.
That's the pro level stuff. If you want to know more about it, just hit me up on Twitter or something.
I think for the most part with 2v2, it allows people just go back to their main decks. If a team is not that good at 2v2, they can only play RG, and they can just rely on that consistently. Just play RG NATO, and there's going to be no ban to really stop that deck. Some teams are going to be clever enough to, counteract that, but in total, I think it allows people to kind of latch onto things when they, it's just one-trick decks, basically.
So not to blow up your spot, because you and Carter might have some tricks up your sleeve, some things that no one's seen yet. Is there anything that you expect that you might see that we haven't yet coming into 2v2?
Surprisingly, I've seen a lot of Graveyard. I think there's going to be more Dark Goblins and things like that to counter that. But overall, I don't know. I think for the most part, the meta is pretty diverse, so I don't know really what else can be shown.
Bait.
I'm not a big fan of bait, honestly.
Pigs.
That made him sick. I made him sicker, you even asking that.
Yeah, actually, I feel kind of bad about it.
Yeah,
All right.
not a big fan of pigs in 2v2.
Hazard, last question before we let you go.
Cool.
And it was kind of, we were leading to it with love it or list it. What is your favorite card and why in 2v2?
In 2v2. Probably Ram Rider, honestly. I think it's super consistent offensively and defensively. It's super versatile. You can play it with a miner, and it just applies a lot of pressure when normally for a 5 elixir card you couldn't get that. And I think you might be seeing some of that today.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Look into the future there
We'll
for you
see
guys.
what happens. So, Hazard, thank you very much for joining us, and we wish you good luck. We're really excited to see your debut, and of course, some big-time news. We'll get to that in just a moment that some of you hanging out on Twitter might know about. So, have a good one, and we wish you a lot of luck.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys.
Cheers, brother.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Hey, I'm gonna fist bump your sick hand. Yeah. What are you doing here?
It's sanitizer now.
Yeah, please, come on. Guys, we are gonna be getting to the action fairly soon. Just hanging out, having a good time.
Thanks,
And we have another guest coming in. And again, some of you may have been on Twitter and seen some of this news, and we're both really super excited about this one. The person who, there were 2 people that everyone said sign them for CRL, and one of them sitting here right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the Scottish sensation from North Ayrshire. Give it up for Thunderstruck.
Hey.
There you go. Yeah, little, come on, give some emotes in the chat. Welcome to California.
Thank you.
Welcome to CRL, my friend.
I'm so excited to be here. It's incredible. This has been all very last second, admittedly, and it's been an incredible surprise.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, so coming off of Red Bull MEO, were you expecting to make an appearance here at CRL, or were you kind of waiting for the phone to ring?
Well, I'd say Red Bull MEO set up a solid foundation for me to grow and put my name out there. It was the first time people started considering me as a solid player, and it gave me lots of opportunity to practice with these incredible CRL players all around us, and that really helped me get here.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great performance at Red Bull MEO. Of course, you had a really great analyst behind you who you said you gave a lot of credit to for helping prepare for that.
Yeah, for sure. His name is Tom, and he really helped me very much.
I mean, again, we talk a lot about the team being important, and you've just joined. I mean, you literally got off a plane. You are here now. This is absolutely crazy. What's it like integrating with the rest of the boys from Energy?
Well, being part of a team like Energy is fantastic. You have multiple staff members working just for you to perform, and it feels so nice, and it really helps out.
When was the moment that you decided that you were good enough to go pro at Clash Royale? You know, you saw, was it when you watched CRL Season 1? Was it before then and you didn't get a call? When was the moment you were like, you know what? I know what CRL needs, this guy.
Well, I still don't even know if I am good enough to go pro, admittedly. But
you won MEO, man. Just get over it.
You're here. You know that the ink is dry now. You know that, right?
Okay, got it. But when I started doing this full time was when I finished school, around about April. And that was the time I started practicing full time, preparing to hopefully be in CRL, and now I am.
So I know maybe some Scottish fans at home are watching, very excited to see your debut. And I guess a very important question is, what do you put on your fish supper? That's fish and chips for those of you
That's a good question.
who are not from the cold and rainy land he's from.
Well, for a fish supper in Scotland, you'd need a bucket of salt, definitely.
Oh my gosh.
Just pour all the salt you can right on that. Obviously, bring vinegar along with it and ketchup if you're into that sort of thing.
If you care half as much about Clash as you do about your fish supper, you are going to be just fine.
Okay, I'm doing good then.
Were you starstruck by anyone when you came here? Are you still starstruck by anyone?
I'm a massive fanboy of everyone here, including you two guys.
Aw.
This is surreal to see all these players. I've seen maybe like 20 already in real life, and then to see another 50 all around me is just so incredible.
Yeah.
Now, I guess the real question that is that's sitting on my mind, because I'm looking at your jersey, the flag is wrong. Now, for those of you who don't know, Scotland's primary flag is white with the blue cross. And then or blue with the white cross, and then there's a secondary flag, which is the lion rampart, which is a yellow flag with a red line on it. If you were to choose the blue cross or sorry, the white cross or the lion, which would you go with?
I'd go for the white cross every day. I think most Scottish people would agree with that.
You're asking such hard-hitting questions, Rich. I love it.
I lived for a year in Edinburgh.
I know.
The cold went down my neck and into my body. I gained a lot of weight when I was there because the culinary motto is, who needs a recipe when you have a deep fryer? Like, I lived the real Scottish life.
I love it. I love it. Speaking about people back home in Scotland, how about everyone home here in America, all around the world? You are kind of a Cinderella story that made it happen. You really went from being a nobody. I'd never heard of you before you played at the MEO. I'll be 100% honest. And then you won. And now you're here in the biggest stage in the world. So do you have any tips or tricks for people that are like, I want to be like Thunderstruck. I want to take the same journey that he took?
Yeah, it's been incredible. 2019, I've grown so much and improved. To do this, I've just practiced like crazy. I would find people who can practice consistently, and we would schedule practices. We'd do 1 hour today, 1 hour tomorrow, and we just repeat this as much as we can. And then for Red Bull MEO, I was doing this 7 hours a day with 7 different people, the best players I could find. And with all that practice, then eventually I got to the level where I'm ready to be with all these other amazing players.
Did you ever feel like you were going to burn out on those days of 7 hours? I mean, I'm sure there was tilts in there. I'm sure there were very frustrating matchups. Like, was there ever a day where you're just like, this isn't for me?
Yeah, burnout was definitely a problem that I was aware of. What I tried to do to stop that was I try and definitely take breaks. I would take at least half an hour breaks in between every practice, just because after 1 hour, your brain kind of stops focusing. And if you're not focused, there's no point practicing. You need to be focused to practice.
Fair.
So 2 more questions for you. First question, you have roommates now. I don't know if you've had family before. Now you have roommates. Of all the different cards that you have at your disposal in Clash Royale, who would you choose as a roommate?
Oh.
Remember, you have to live with them, share a bathroom, potentially a kitchen.
Well, I wouldn't choose the Goblin because it would probably steal all my gold. If I had to choose one, it would probably be the heal spell. It's a card. It's a card. I could live forever with that bad boy.
Okay. Strong move. 1 elixir. Just keep on cycling that in. One more question for you. You're known for playing kind of out there decks, constructing your own stuff. Do you think you're going to bring that sort of creativity here? Or do you think you might go a little bit more central on the meta as you approach these other big-time players?
Well, I can't confirm anything because I know there'll be CRL teams watching trying to scout me. But I can confirm that, yes, I will be playing some crazy decks soon.
Well, one thing that we're very excited for is we're going to give you a massive pro wrestling style entrance. We're going to, because as far as we knew, I wasn't sure if you're going to be here or not today. I really wasn't. And seeing you now is very, very exciting. So when you come out on that stage, we will let you know exactly how we feel. Okay?
Oh yeah, we're gonna pump the surprise for everybody who's just tuning in and hasn't seen you before. Make it feel. We're not gonna even let anyone know until you walk out on stage. Guys, it's been fun. Thunderstruck. We'll be back in a few. We're gonna get changed. CRL West coming at you in a few minutes.
That shit was clean.
That was awesome.
Great, man. Thank you. Very nice work. Very nice work.
hermano.
Match day 4 here at the OGN Super Arena, home of CRL West, and their matches so far have been absolutely crazy. Ups and downs, ins and outs, high-level gameplay, lots of pressure. Hello and welcome to Clash Royale League. I'm Rich Slayton, joining me as always, my friend Andrew Guy. And as I said, it has been wild already. Results you wouldn't expect. Matches going totally haywire. And you got to think some of that, Andrew, is due to this slight shift in format that is focusing more on the team aspect earlier in the match.
Yeah, Rich, I love the new format. So we still start off with our 2v2 set, you know, the teamwork that kind of changed the format of CRL. Next up is King of the Hill. A lot of pros were missing the best of 5 set. That's exactly what King of the Hill is. Each player comes out and they get 1 life. Lastly is set number 3, 1v1. Your best mono-e-mono player coming out as the tie-breaking set.
This is the first of 2 splits for CRL West, and the top 3 teams from this first split go to represent the West at the World Cyber Games in Xi'an, China this July, facing off against the best squads from CRL Asia and CRL China. And of course, you can follow all the action here, not 1, not 2, but 3 days a week.
Yes.
Of course, we are here Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. Wednesday, tune in at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Saturday and Sunday, that's going to be 10 a.m. in the West and 1 p.m. in the East. And yeah, Andrew, it has been absolutely insane so far.
Oh my gosh.
Results we wouldn't expect. Some teams blowing it up. Some teams struggling under this new, tighter, more competitive format. And take a look at what we got going on our standings.
Yeah, so Cream Esports is the first team to hit 2-0, playing perfect so far. Team Liquid is now 1-0 in their debut, riding on the shoulders of Surgical Goblin. Immortals has fallen to 3rd place, but they still had a good 5-0 sweep. Next up is Fnatic at 1-0, and Tribe Gaming at 1-1 in 5th place. Next up, we have Pain Gaming and Dignitas. All 3 of them are tied at 1-1, Tribe, Pain, and Dignitas. And at the bottom of our charts, we have some surprises here with Team Queso, Complexity, and Misfits all looking to find that very first W.
3 very stacked teams that have all struggled a bit out the gate. Of course, one of them leading off today. We have 3 fantastic matches, including the debut of Energy facing off against Complexity to start the show.
Yeah, after that, we have Tribe Gaming and Fnatic going head-to-head. Tribe Gaming 1-1, Fnatic 1-0. Lastly is Cream Esports and Immortals, both of them looking to stay perfect. Will Cream go 3-0? Will Immortals go 2-0? We'll find out very, very soon.
It's a very exciting show today, some big-time squads, and from the rumors I've heard, some big-time surprises today. So let's head to the floor as we welcome our first matchup. It's going to be Energy facing off against Complexity.
Rich, I'm dying to know what this surprise is. Everyone in the world apparently knows but me. I don't know if I showed up late this morning or what. Hey!
Yeah,
Wait.
You are absolutely right. Complexity, Energy coming to the stage, but look at that in the black and red. You have Carter, you have Hazard, and a late last-minute addition, the Scottish sensation, the Red Bull MBO champion, Thunderstruck, making his CRL debut.
This is a huge, huge surprise. You can see right there the smile on his face. He is so excited to be here at CRL West. As you said, Hazard, Carter, Thunderstruck, and Chief J coming out to play today for Energy. I am so excited to see what this young man can do. I have heard so much about him. I've watched his gameplay. Let's do this, Energy. On the other side, we've got Complexity, a team that we are very familiar with some new additions in Air Surfer and Vulcan. And then you got the OGs, Adrian, Piedra, Colton, and Razor, or better known as The Wall, which we coined last season. These guys are looking to come out and dominate that 2v2 set. They're bread and butter. That's the set they're known for, Rich.
This is a tall order for both squads. Of course, Energy, Hazard, and Carter are great 2v2 players. Thunderstruck is extremely unpredictable, but then Complexity is unbelievably stacked, and for Thunderstruck making his CRL debut in head-to-head gameplay against those kind of players, we're gonna see if he is as good as the world believes.
And as you can see on the right-hand tower there, we've got the Wall back together. Colton W83 and Razor going up against Carter and Hazard. And we were both shocked when Razor and Colton were not playing together in match number 1, Rich.
Yeah, they tried to mix things up, put Razor and Vulcan together. Look, they have a lot of great players, and they wanted to see what they might sort out. But when you have one of the best 2v2 duos out there, why not put them together? And here we see the Wall back again.
Yeah, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And here they are.
So I'm expecting Colton and Razor to come out to start with this double RG deck that they like so much. It's a very common deck. I know that they feel really confident in it, but I'm interested to see if they end up running that same Splash Yard with Goblin Giant double deck that Vulcan and Razor ran the other day.
Yeah, that'll be very interesting to see. And that was a phenomenal lightning. It looked like it had an insane amount of range, catching both those units and the tower. That's the value you kind of want to start the day.
And here you go, Complexity going Graveyard to open. So it's cool to see them kind of shifting over away from the RG meta. You see Hazard and Carter here. Very interesting deck construction as well so far.
Yeah, you're probably going to see an RG out of the bottom of your screen here from Energy. And both teams pretty even here in Elixir.
So this, of course, looks like a 2v2 Splash Yard version for Complexity. The other day, they ran this with Dark Prince and with P.E.K.K.A. rather than Giant Skeletons, so we'll see what other changes maybe they've made, and that's a big one there. They did not play Freeze the other day.
Yeah, that was a very nicely executed Graveyard early on. Back-to-back Graveyards, very aggressive for Complexity here. But these guys are very good at Elixir management. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Moving forward, however, Energy's going to have to figure out how to balance the freeze and the poison to make sure, or excuse me, balance the freeze with their poison to make sure that the Complexity doesn't get too much damage on that tower.
So minor Ram Rider for Energy. Ram Rider has been very popular all over, both in 1v1 and 2v2 with varied success.
Yeah, and different uses. In 1v1, we see it obviously as a big-time win condition. In 2v2, it is still a win condition, but they've been using it a lot defensively, kind of to replace a building, because it slows these units that go directly through your tower, and then create a counter push.
So Lumberjack, the Baby Dragon gets some value, and nice NATO to pull things together with the ranged up Baby Dragon. Good job stopping that support for this push, but the freeze comes down. E-Wiz just in time. That's going to be a significant amount of damage, but could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah, very well managed there by Energy. Still significant, as you said, and that was very well played by Energy, making sure not any tank crossed the river for Complexity. And here, that is a Lumberjack and a Ram Rider on tower, and an E-Wiz and an Ice Wiz. That is huge.
And with just 15 seconds left, as long as Energy can defend this push, they are in a very good place to take game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, Energy kind of looked at what they were going up against very early on and figured out how they were going to defend. They've got a lot of splash units. They've got a lot of spells. Fireball, Lightning coming in. Just need one more Snowball or a Baby Dragon Belch will do it.
There you go. Hazard and Carter start off Energy's season right. And we're going to have to talk about their Season 1 because this is a squad that had great 2v2 that got overlooked because of Energy's struggles.
Speaking on Energy's record last season in 2v2, Rich, their numbers are pretty astounding. Hazard was 9-3 in sets, 21-10 overall in games, and on the other side of that, Carter was 7-3 and 17-9 in games. So they are a very, very strong 2v2 duo.
Yeah, I mean, last year for Energy, they had 2 challenges. One, they struggled in the 1v1 set, and then they had, as we've said a lot last season, possibly the worst luck in King of the Hill that anyone has ever seen. The number of games they lost by double-digit HP, by 1 spell, by 1 tick, by 1 second is absolutely insane. But look at these records. Energy on paper from a 2v2 standpoint is not that different from Complexity.
No.
Just Complexity backed it up with those amazing King of the Hill and 1v1 performances.
Yeah. So here early on, we have a Lava Hound coming down the left-hand lane for Energy, and then you saw the aggressive Royal Giant Lumberjack met immediately by a Prince and a Lumberjack from Energy. And now things are basically even across the board.
Energy running Lava Hound, Graveyard. So this will be really fun to see how they mix these two together. And look at that, a super aggressive Lumberjack RG push at the river.
And 2 baby dragons to meet isn't exactly what you want. They're not the greatest tank killers. The Mega Minion's gonna come down to help out, but that RG is gonna get at least 2 shots in, Rich.
Raged up RG as well, so pretty big hits, but now look what they have. A lot of tankage. Fireball takes care of that. I was gonna say, maybe time for another Graveyard push.
Yeah, that is some excellent value there from Complexity. And Rich, on the other side of that, Razor and Colton were 10-3 overall in the season in 2v2 sets. However, to start, Razor's now 1-3 in games.
Well, let's see how they do with, this is their standard, this is their favorite deck, this double RG deck. Colton and Vulcan ran something that was either identical or at least exceptionally similar to this pairing in their first match.
And you see the defensive freeze coming down now, knowing that the freeze is in hand. I don't know if it was assumed by Complexity, but now they are positive that Energy is holding that kind of it factor card.
And now it's double baby dragons for Complexity on this side. So Fireball will get a lot of value this way as well.
Yeah, great. They're trying to preserve the health of the Ice Wizard, get a little bit more out of it. Was targeted by the tower.
Yeah, but they got some significant hits on that tower. So right now it's just both squads trading haymakers as we move into double elixir time.
Log coming in just in time, preventing more than 1 hit from that Royal Giant. We're basically tied up, 40 HP separating the top from the bottom, Complexity with a slight edge.
RG up again, and this has been the game plan so far for Complexity. Rather than double RG, just getting one, getting the next, getting one, getting the next, making sure you always have to defend.
Ooh.
Beautiful lightning. This is going to be a lot on tower.
That was a devastating lightning, and that should bring this within spellable range between the fireball, the lightning, the snowball, the log. Complexity should be taking game number 2.
Can they get to another spell in time? The freeze comes down, but not with enough, not in the right time to get the Ice Wiz. Oh my gosh,
oh my gosh, where's the log? You gotta get the log down.
Log
there goes
comes
the log.
in, Fireball, not gonna be enough. Colton and Razor take game number 2.
So now we've seen both teams playing with Graveyard Freeze Rich, and it actually has fallen flat both times from both squads.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, with 2v2, freeze requires so much more timing and so much more patience because there's so many more options to get behind the freeze.
Yeah.
So with the skill of these two squads, I'm not super surprised to see Graveyard Freeze fall flat the first 2 games.
And what was interesting is you saw Freeze used defensively more than offensively last game for Energy, and it looks like if they were able to get one, even just one freeze in offensively, they might have taken this in a 2-game sweep.
Well, what we haven't seen from either squad is in that final 45 seconds or so, starting to focus a little bit more on spell cycle. We actually saw a lot more defensive spells in that final minute than we saw offensive spells.
And that was one thing that was kind of a big question mark on the season, Rich, was we're going to see a ton of spell cycles in 2v2 now that there is, no ban cards. But you've still got to preserve your elixir. You can't just start going crazy with your spells. You've always got to get value out of it, or else, your opponents are going to catch up really, really quickly.
So it looks like Energy might be back to the same Ram Rider Miner deck they played in game number 1 to take that win. And Colton and Razor here with a few possibilities open. I believe this is not dissimilar from the RG deck that they played before.
Yeah, definitely going to look for some RGs on the top of the screen here now. Will it just be in one of their hands? And there we go. Lumberjack RG come down, met immediately with the P.E.K.K.A. from Energy. Probably not what Complexity wanted to see on the other side. That coupled with the NATO, not going to get a hit in.
That NATO was really important because the RG targeted the Lumberjack first, and that could have been at least 1 or 2 raged up RG shots on that left-hand tower.
Coming on the right-hand side of your screen, caught very well by a Lumberjack from Complexity. And I was going to say, they're probably going to throw down a Royal Giant right in front of it.
And this time they are only playing 1 P.E.K.K.A. They don't have that second P.E.K.K.A. in cycle, and that's a great lightning.
Yeah, very nice lightning. 1 RG shot comes in, still playing excellent defense is Energy.
Final minute of regulation. We are in double elixir time, so might see Complexity start to really pile on those RGs.
And nothing really is more exciting than an Ice Wizard battle. It's just so entertaining. Miner come in, not picked up this time, and I've mentioned this many times before, I love the Miner in 2v2. It is almost an assured way to get some damage on the tower other than a spell, which can be very, very difficult.
And interesting here, with 16 cards on the board, Complexity doesn't have a ton of options for picking up miners. They do have 2 Lumberjacks, they do have the Skeletons, but it's not a lot.
Yeah. And even if a Snowball were to come in, which it doesn't look like Energy has, you can get all those units off your miner every single time. And this is a huge push coming in for Energy. Nothing on that Ram Rider other than a Lightning. Still going to connect. Raged up.
Wow, that was a big sequence there for Energy. And look, they're still ahead on Elixir after all that, and by a significant margin.
Yeah, that just tells you the Complexity overcommitted earlier on, and they were able to play excellent defense at the bottom of the screen, and then in turn used all that saved Elixir for a huge push.
Beautiful defense down at the bottom left-hand side, and a missed fireball. I think the Energy's about to take this one. You saw they played the Ice Spirit, E-Wiz, NATO combination that stopped the Lumberjack,
and there's
took care of the RG, spell cycle out. Energy starts this season off with a bang.
Wow, and Complexity really, really struggling to find their footing in a set that they were known for. Literally the best in NA last season in 2v2 for most of the season. Colton and Razor now falling. Colton 0-1, Razor 0-2.
Really, really shocking, but look, the fireball was certainly a misplay there at the end.
Yeah.
But more importantly, it's the defense of Energy, and again, that final sequence. The Ice Spirit stops the Lumberjack for a second. E-Wiz comes in. NATO pulls him back. You take the Lumberjack and the RG out. The fireball misses the E-Wiz because of all that going on. I mean, that was a beautiful play by Energy, and now they head into King of the Hill with this very exciting new addition to their squad, and they must be fired up. Let's get into King of the Hill. Each squad puts forward 3 players. Let's get into King of the Hill. Each squad puts forward 3 players. Lose, you're out. Player win. You have a chance to run the table and lose, you're out. Win. You have a chance to run the table and take out the entire other squad.
And today Hazard and Airsurfer are kicking it off for these 2 teams. Hazard was 5 and 8 last season in King of the Hill. And despite Airsurfer's massive off-season success, he really struggled last season in King of the Hill. He was only 2-6.
Picks up with the Rascals. Miner to open up. Airsurfer fireballs, but does nothing for the Miner to choose to slow down here. Fireballs, but does nothing for the Miner to choose to slow down here for a moment.
Goblins, I mean, Rich, there's Barbell coming out. Chances that this
you
must
be so excited. It's the Death Star. Mortar must be so excited. And here we're seeing it's the Death Star. Mortar Bait comes out. And here we're seeing from Hazard somewhat Royal Giant last couple of weeks. Which has been somewhat gaining popularity the last couple of weeks.
To see how this is going to be a very, very interesting defensively. Wow. To see how very, very nice fireball mortar defensively. Wow. And that's a very, very nice fireball coming down for Hazard. Getting another RG shot in, killing those rascals.
I might just have to sit back and let you talk about Mortar Bait. Yeah, I might just have to sit back and let you talk about Mortar Bait.
Airsurfer's going to have to get all of his damage from
this is one of those things
from his units. Airsurfer's going to have to get all of his damage compiled with Spear Goblins from his units and Miner compiled gang because that mortar with Spear Goblins saved just to catch the Goblin gang because that mortar really needs to be saved.
Although this is a complicated puzzle for Airsurfer to work out. Although this is a complicated puzzle for Airsurfer to work out because you're not just playing a traditional RG fascinating. You're playing RG Miner, which is a fascinating
combination. About catching RG Miner, but then you're giving spell value. You start thinking about about catching miners, right? But then you're giving spell value is going to be one of the most frustrating things for Air Surfer to go up against. With the NATO is going to be one of the most frustrating things for Air Surfer to go up against.
Beautiful catch
with
there
all
by Air
these
Surfer
small,
as
squishy
Hazard goes to the number 2
Beautiful
spot.
catch
there by Air Surfer as Hazard goes
now
to the
that we're in
number
double
2
elixir,
spot.
this is where Hazard's really going to start putting his pedal to the metal. Now that we're in double elixir, this is where Hazard's really going to start putting his pedal to the metal.
One swing from the Rascal Boy, and now RG's
One
up.
swing
from the Rascal Boy, and now RG's up.
well.
There we go. And again, beautiful pickup
by the
well. There we go. And again, beautiful pickup by the Rascal.
That's exactly what I was talking about right there. The remainder of the Goblin Gang. That is a lot of damage on the tower. The remainder of the Goblin Gang. That is a lot of damage on the tower. And this is going to be a tough one for Air Surfer to come back.
On Elixir as well.
And
Hazard is so far ahead on Elixir as well. So very, very well. Not only is this a tough puzzle to solve, but Hazard picking up the miner. Well, this time, not picking up the miner. That should be it.
Air Surfer might know to put the miner on the inside there, thinking that Air Surfer might catch on the miner, the tower, and then Hazard gets spell damage on the mortar, the tower, and any units picking up the miner. So Hazard, an easy W in game 1 of King of the Hill.
Down. Beautiful play to open up in front of the young man. Air Surfer down. 2 more in front of the young man from Energy.
Now Vulcan coming to the stands for Complexity. A dominant win by Hazard, but a lot of people will say that was a horrible matchup for Air Surfer. Let's see if Vulcan can keep Complexity alive.
Hazard, of course, coming off a trip to Dallas for DreamHack, where he played against some pretty stiff competition as well, and goes right from the frying pan into the fire up against Vulcan, who may have put himself in a position to be called one of the best in North America last year.
100%. He ended the season 8-3 in 1v1 sets, 18-9 overall in 1v1 gameplay, and another mortar coming out with the arrows, or excuse me, with the archers. This is probably going to be the Royal Hogs and Rocket version. I believe that Og Crap made popular.
Excited to see what the dual lane pressure can do here for Vulcan. Hazard looking like running lava.
There are the Royal Hogs coming down, met with a group of barbarians.
That is a collection of barbs.
Hazard kind of nodded to himself going, okay, yeah, no problem, no problem. You send some Royal Hogs, I'll meet you with the barbarians.
So far, Vulcan has lightly bloodied the nose of Hazard, but no one taking a big chunk yet. And there you go, Lava Hound, first one down for the Energy player.
This is a fascinating deck. I really like it. We'll see how it fares, but I think this is going to be very interesting.
Both these guys playing very, very interesting decks. Kind of slightly new meta. Of course, Lava Lumberjack, not new at all, but the Barbarians, since their rework, kind of getting moved into this deck. Some people might see a similar deck with Skarmy instead, a little bit lighter.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Barbarian rework. It's a card that you really didn't see a lot in any gameplay, let alone tournament gameplay, and now popping up regularly here at CRL West.
Well, I'm a big fan because it's made my only deck viable. Here we go, heading into double elixir time, so it'll be the battle of the big beatdown through the air against the dual lane pressure and relatively quick cycle of Vulcan.
Yeah, and that is a big, big time mortar lock there for Vulcan, getting a lot of those Kobe shots in on the tower.
So Lava so far in CRL has made now its 8th appearance in head-to-head play, but the current win rate is only 42-43%.
That is a rough mortar being played just a hair too early, a skosh, if you will, and that flying machine does not cross the river and does not get targeted by the tower.
So Vulcan slightly ahead, and there we go, the clone and the rocket does take out the baby dragons. Nice work on the support cards.
A very, very well executed defense from Vulcan. It looked like for a minute there with the rocket coming down, he might be at an elixir deficit. You saw the great patience with the snowball, very well cleaned up.
And Hazard just doing a good job of making sure to pick up those mortar shots. Although this mortar is going to change and get lock on tower. There you go. So that's going to be quite a lot of damage he's going to take from these mortars.
Yeah, another big fuse shots, another huge lock for Vulcan, and one more shot comes in. The rocket comes down to clean up all the support troops, and Vulcan is playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah, this is brilliant. This is really, really clean play. And that's going to be some nasty damage, although the mortar shot doesn't get a lot there as the barbs split.
And a very interesting clone coming down, almost a hair early it looks like, but he just can't take any more of those mortar hits on the tower, and now the Hogs come in.
Yeah, he does not have really anything for the Hogs now with Barbarians out of cycle. Hazard knows it.
Yeah.
Very well played, but Rocket comes in. Vulcan gets one back for complexity, and all Hazard can do is say good game and take his walk down from the tower. So here we are, game number 3, and the debut of Thunderstruck, the Red Bull MEO champion in CRL. Now, we do have to qualify this just a little bit.
We absolutely do.
League Ops are currently reviewing whether or not this late edition is going to be acceptable on the day. They're going to play the match out, and we'll deal with that problem when we get to it. But for now, we get to see a fantastic matchup, Thunder versus Vulcan.
And Vulcan going with what could be the same deck. There are obviously very many different mortar iterations out there, but with the success of last game, you know, maybe he'll just stick with it.
Dark Prince, of course, everywhere, and oh, there you go, mortar miner. So chalk up another one here for my buddy Andrew, who loves what he's seeing.
I'm very, very happy about this, and he did switch up the archetype. It doesn't look like he's not going to go with the Royal Hogs Rocket Archers version. He's going to go with the more traditional log bait version, or mortar bait version.
And so here we go, Thunderstruck playing Royal Hogs now and getting the dual lane pressure. And of course, such a big shift from last season with the 3M Royal Hogs.
Yeah, yeah. And we're still kind of waiting to see if the Three Musketeers make their CRL appearance and if they will be effective at competitive play. 2 big mortar shots locking in for Vulcan, evening up this game. Miner to the back will not get caught by the Dark Prince.
Yeah, Dark Prince goes to the number 3 spot, the front inside, and instead Vulcan sent it just to the number 2 on the outside.
You recognize the comfortability of Vulcan playing the Rascals all in one lane. He does know that there's most likely not going to be another spell or a big spell in Thunderstruck's hand to take them out and give tower value.
Yeah, Bar Barrel Snowball, so popular, although with the most recent updates, Bar Barrel just taking a nerf and Snowball apparently having one on the way, it could really change how popular this combination will be.
The win rates of those cards and the amount that they show up in any deck, in any archetype, is just overwhelming. So a nice balance change, I think, coming in. Obviously not my favorite being a mortar player, but can't win them all.
Miner to the back and mostly ignored. Thunderstruck has not been able to pick these up too well so far, but he is benefiting on the other side from the dual lane pressure and currently does have a slight lead.
Ooh, and the Dark Goblin turns to the Flying Machine. Vulcan eats all the damage from the Dark Prince in the left-hand lane, knowing that obviously the right tower is weaker and that will be the focus of Thunderstruck.
Beautiful snowball there from Thunderstruck, pushing the front goblins towards his Barbarians.
However, he does have to be careful because the ability to split the Royal Hogs, if both towers are low, he can switch at any moment, and that Fireball is going to be the response you want every single time the Royal Hogs come down.
Thunderstruck now getting into a bit of rhythm. Vulcan playing off his back foot at the moment, split the Barbarians. They will not be able to pick up that Miner though, and again, Vulcan just keeps getting on tower.
Yeah, very, very excellent mind game being played with the Miner, moving it early on to the, as you said, the number 3 spot, and a great Fireball.
Wow, tons of value, but Thunderstruck loads up on the Royal Hogs immediately, but Mortar ready to play, so Vulcan now seemingly one step ahead of the Scotsman.
And that Dark Goblin comes down just a hair late there to pick up the Musketeer and the Royal Hog. Musketeer should get one shot off. There it goes.
That's a big one shot now that we are in sudden death overtime. Nice split here. Mortar comes down, perfectly timed to pick it up. Keep in mind here, Vulcan does have more direct tower damage between the Fireball and the ability to place the Miner.
And that felt a little bit aggressive, those Royal Hogs there, knowing that Fireball was in cycle and the Mortar was in cycle. You know, Vulcan had all the responses, was able to save the Fireball to honestly take down this tower. He needs to take it down soon because Thunderstruck is not slowing down at all.
And again, really good Fireball value. That's been the name of the game so far. Vulcan's winning this thing potentially on Fireball and Miners, and there you go, another perfectly timed Mortar.
Yeah, great Mortar. Dark Goblin going towards the tower that he wants. Miner comes down, does not get picked up once again by that Dark Prince. Got to be so frustrating for Thunderstruck, but Vulcan just playing again out of his mind.
And now Vulcan is just 2 Fireballs and a Snowball away from sealing this thing. Snowball, although what does he have? One Hog does escape!
He needs to get on that Hog, and he needs to get there now. You see the Goblin Gate coming down. He did not want to spend 3 Elixir in that lane. Can be completely ignored by Thunderstruck.
Now this is tough for Thunderstruck because he has to play to pick up these Miners, but also he's going to be giving Fireball value and trying to do that.
Miner to the front, gonna definitely get in. This should do it. One more Miner hit, that's all he needs. There it goes, now waiting on the Fireball, and that's gonna be a good game from Vulcan. You see the hand on the head of Thunderstruck. Don't worry about it. Welcome to CRL West.
Vulcan now just 1 win away from sweeping King of the Hill and sending his squad to the 3rd and final set.
Carter coming out, trying to send Complexity home, making them 0-2. I'm sure Vulcan has something to say about that.
You know, if you're talking about the bad luck bounces of energy from Season 1, no one was more of a victim of that than Carter. The number of times that it was just a photo finish, one thing went the wrong way, one tick, the 10 HP was one of the big ones.
They were so close to making playoffs and then going on a run. So this is really kind of their redemption season. You got to stay strong mentally. Know that last season was not really your fault, and then bounce back and try to make playoffs.
Carter went 8-7 in King of the Hill last year. Still a winning record in spite of all the challenges. Dark Prince does get a charge on tower, a lot of damage, and here we go. Lavaing up. Carter going Lava Miner.
And you hear that battle ram coming down with the bandit right behind it, going real aggressive opposite lane. That is not what Vulcan wanted to see. A great cleanup and counter push coming down the right-hand lane. And of course, in the left-hand lane, you've got that Lava Hound, which you know is going to be supported by a Baby Dragon.
This is only the 2nd Lava Miner we've seen so far this season. It does have a perfect win rate right now, 1-0. But it's up against Bridge Spam, which is the most popular archetype so far. It's made up 14 to 15% of the decks that have been played, and currently at an astounding 61% win rate.
And that was just an unfortunate poison that came down for Vulcan. He kind of had to pick and choose. Do I go for the Lava Pups and the Lava Hound? Can I not get it on the Baby Dragon? It might have been a slight misclick. He might have been able to get all those units there, but you see he really paid for it in tower HP.
Slowing down here as we enter double elixir time, and now Vulcan loading up support troops behind to help with the ram, but more importantly to engage with this lava push.
And you see right there, he knows exactly how much elixir that Lava Hound can cost. He knows the barbs were back in cycle, but he saw the other support troops coming down. He got a lot of damage in right away and evened up this game.
Pretty much perfect sequence there from Vulcan on both ends of the board. So 30 seconds left, and he is in a fantastic position to take the sweep.
Yeah, wow, and the Dark Prince connects once again. A sliver of HP, and now it is do or die for Carter, but he's got to play defense in the right-hand lane. He knows there's nothing he can do in this instant. Vulcan sweeps energy.
Wow, and you see Carter a little frustrated there, maybe more than a little frustrated. Vulcan's got to be good. Had so much frustration the other day in his 2v2 set and then King of the Hill. Here he comes out 3 up, 3 down. Vulcan taking a big set 2 win for Complexity.
You know, I almost wish he did it with all 3 Mortar decks, but you know what, Vulcan, I'll let it slide. What a showing today for Complexity, who had a bit of a misfortunate, let's say bad luck in game or match number 1. So now Vulcan takes Complexity to set number 3, and you think you're just going to keep riding him, right? I mean, we go with the hot hand. He seems indestructible right now.
At this point, I don't see a reason why. The 2 options are Vulcan and Air Surfer, and that's 2 fantastic options. But here's the other key factor. You cannot play Carter or Hazard in the 1v1, so it's going to be Thunderstruck against one of those 2.
So in these instances, we've kind of found that going with the hot hand is the way to go. So you got to think Complexity is going to stick with Vulcan. However, there's no other option other than Thunderstruck for NRG.
So this is a big moment. It's not just his CRL debut. He's had one game, maybe the jitters are out, but now he has to go up against Vulcan in 1v1, and he just got to town.
Yeah, Vulcan playing absolutely perfectly in King of the Hill. Here we are, 1v1 tiebreaker set coming your way. Can Thunderstruck take this home for his team in his CRL debut, or will Vulcan stay hot and sweep out the match?
Vulcan's play in that King of the Hill was just so clean and so tight and so Vulcan.
Yeah, and you see right there, again, just great defense. The Bandit walks to the battle ram, takes it out. Now the P.E.K.K.A, obviously he's gonna have to deal with, but he's probably got one of his own.
So you gotta wonder with that aggressive opening Bandit if part of that was to maybe get a lot of troops committed on defense and then he knew I have P.E.K.K.A behind it.
Could be, but it doesn't really matter because it's going to be a very clean defense coming in from Vulcan. However, he is at a 1 elixir deficit.
And you can see Vulcan there a little annoyed with how that went down.
Yeah, if that was the case from Thunderstruck, which it appears to be, was a very, very nice little mind game.
So it looks like both players have been doing their research. Bridge spam has been dominant so far in CRL West, the most popular archetype in the entire league, and the best win rate for an archetype that's been used this much.
Yeah, and now you see the P.E.K.K.A coming down for Vulcan. Looks like it was out of cycle early on.
So Vulcan choosing to go with the Dark Prince Princess version. Thunderstruck looking so far to be more traditional.
Musketeer, but yes, I do know she is a princess.
Yeah, Musketeer. Every once in a while, you slip one through.
It always happens.
Here we go, Battle Ram at the bridge.
Ooh, and that will connect. The P.E.K.K.A tanking just for those 2 shots from the tower. A very, very nice sequence for Thunderstruck.
So entering in a double elixir time, Thunderstruck just a little bit ahead in the opening game of 1v1. Gets Dark Prince down. This will deal better with, no, the ramp does connect.
If you can do it, I can do it also. And the Bandit connects in the left-hand lane, though. So Thunderstruck and Vulcan just trading blows right now. One thing I did notice in the game that Thunderstruck and Vulcan played in King of the Hill was that Vulcan was kind of behind most of the game, but he kept his cool. Thunderstruck, being ahead most of the game, played a very aggressive and ill-advised Royal Hogs. I think due to those jitters you were talking about, Rich. So let's see if he's calmed down and can continue to play at this pace. He's playing very, very well.
Thunder tends to be a little unpredictable, especially in deck choices. Obviously, in this one, a little more central meta than you might think. But he is one of those players who can take big moments and take advantage.
Yeah, and Vulcan kind of playing this newer version, as you said before, with the Musketeer and the Dark Prince, or excuse me, with the Musketeer mainly replacing the E-Wiz.
And here you have Thunder going with the Dark Prince over Royal Ghost version.
I think that's really fascinating about bridge spam mirror matchups is really how you utilize your P.E.K.K.A and keep her alive. You know, a lot of people support the P.E.K.K.A on P.E.K.K.A battles when he was behind. Obviously, that's not an option for Vulcan. It is one for Thunderstruck, so it's just going to be really fun to see how these 2 archetypes play out.
So Vulcan trying to poison on that left-hand side, gets some tower damage and does take care of the E-Wiz.
Bandits dashing on top of each other does preserve the health of that P.E.K.K.A quite a bit. Prince meets Prince. I'd ignore those minions. Okay, never mind. I like that. You support the right-hand push with those minions. Very well played.
But plenty of snowball value. P.E.K.K.A.
I love it. The P.E.K.K.A's kind of getting a little bit of support, and they duke it out in one lane, while the opposite lane gets all the bridge spam elements kind of piling on one another.
It is interesting, though, from a stylistic choice, where you have Thunderstruck playing his P.E.K.K.A behind the King Tower versus Vulcan playing his outside the Princess Tower. It does mean that they're meeting on Thunderstruck's side of the arena.
Yep, and those Barbarians will get a lock on the tower, unless, okay, Prince comes down.
Dark Prince just sneaks in time, but now he was doing damage in the right-hand lane. It really does look like Thunderstruck has dusted off a lot of those first game jitters.
And you know both these guys are just, you gotta maintain, you gotta stay consistent for the rest of the 80 seconds that is game number 1 of 1v1, because the moment you make that one mistake, the overcommitment, the misplayed defense, that's when Bridge Spam punishes you. Ooh, that's a big Dark Prince connect.
Battle Ram doesn't get through, and now Thunder has to deal with the P.E.K.K.A on the right-hand side. I think his is going to come down just in time, but you have Dark Prince on the other side. Oh my gosh, he is coming to the right-hand lane. I don't know if we're going to stop this on the left-hand side.
He really can't, Rich. That was a huge misplay. I think he miscounted his elixir just a little bit, thinking he could probably play the P.E.K.K.A in the middle of the map, aggroing the Dark Prince and aggroing the P.E.K.K.A from the right and left-hand sides. Not the case. Vulcan stays strong mentally and takes game number 1. Well, you wanted to debut Thunderstruck, and here you go. Everything resting on this young man's shoulders. Vulcan still has now won 4 in a row, still looking to find the way to take him down. He seems indestructible right now.
Yeah, this is a very focused Vulcan, you know, definitely wanting one back from the other day and the challenging events the Complexity went through in that match. And here you have Vulcan playing loose, and, you know, I'll say this, we've seen an emotional Vulcan so far, meaning he kind of tilted his head once.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't sure where you were going to go. I was like, have we? But yes, that is true. That the head tilt is honestly more than he usually lets on. As you can see right now on the right-hand side of your screen, he is laser focused, as is his MO.
So here we go, Vulcan looking like he's playing RG Furnace. Fireball, not typically the card you throw in there, but so it could mean he's going a different direction, could mean he just went a little bit faster and was putting Thunderstruck potentially on Fireball bait again.
I was just going to say, he's probably playing that deck that he saw earlier on. The Royal Hogs do come down. He's going to take advantage of that Fireball being out of cycle. A nice exchange for Thunderstruck there, but probably not going to be that easy to get the Hogs to the tower again.
RG Furnace has not performed overall very well so far in CRL West, with only a 4 wins out of 12 at the moment. But we have seen RG Furnace perform well with slight adjustments to put someone else on a deck. Of course, we saw the other day when Lindsay played had guards and Lumberjack and took Baby Dragon out to kind of play a snipe there. And this might be a similar choice, putting Fireball in rather than Lightning.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was. You used the word perfectly, a direct snipe from, and that's when you got to credit your analyst. Let him know that, like, wow, that is, what a call. Taking that game basically was his job. That was all on his shoulders. Lindsay obviously played very, very well, but that matchup was brutal.
And this is huge for Vulcan because the Fireball, of course, you do want it in some cases to save for those Royal Hogs, but you do have Furnace. But that Fireball also, the best response that Thunderstruck has directly to the RG is the Barbarians. Fireball completely neutralizes that here.
Yeah, that is very, very true. So picking and choosing when to use the Fireball, you see Thunderstruck is actually going to make that decision easier for him by splitting those Hogs. No Fireball coming down on that.
So there'll be a question here, you know, last time when Thunderstruck ran this in King of the Hill, he didn't run it in a very Fireball baity manner. We saw a lot of troops stacked up. He seems to be spreading out a little bit better this time. The question is, will that pay off?
And the first RG coming down for Vulcan does get a shot in, and that is really, really not what Thunderstruck wants. Now, he may have good responses with the barbs, but he's got nothing to distract the Royal Giant.
Whoa, and those Royal Hogs get pretty deep, forced to spend also with the E-Wiz and Musketeer on the right, taking a lot of shots.
That is an insane, insane exchange there. Vulcan just got caught looking, and Thunderstruck took advantage. This is an equalizing moment for Energy.
Just remember, though, Thunderstruck cannot spell out here. All he has left is a giant snowball, most likely, unless he's made some sort of change to this deck. So he's going to have to get on tower. You really cannot spell out at such a low amount of damage.
Vulcan still is not out of this.
A lot of fireball value.
Wow.
That's going to be it.
That's it. We got to, I mean, Vulcan has to play huge defense right now. He's got to catch that Dark Prince as soon as possible. Thunderstruck is feeling this game slipping from his fingers. E-Wiz comes down. Can he play enough defense, though? Does he have enough time?
Oh my gosh, left-hand side! Thunderstruck takes it!
And look at the celebration on his face. He gets that first win, that most important win. We're going to game 3.
So if you thought the pressure was already on Thunderstruck's shoulders, now it's a Game 3 tiebreaker. We are in lowest single tower rules, and he has the chance to either start off his new squad with a bang or with a stumble.
Yeah, and I can only imagine how he's feeling up on those gigantic towers. The pressure has got to be insane. And once again, Vulcan over there at a heart rate of maybe 28 beats per minute.
Thunder cycles his log and responded with minions in the back for Vulcan.
So Vulcan could be playing bridge spam again. And it looks like he is going to go to that deck he had so much success with today.
Much slower start from both guys for this final game.
And it appears we'll probably be seeing Royal Giant once again, the version with the guards, and a Goblin Giant comes out, excuse me. And you see a little nod there from Thunderstruck. I don't think he was expecting that either.
Log is also an interesting choice here for Thunder. You know, typically you're seeing the Bar Barrel in that RG deck, so a lot of fascinating variations happening here. And Lumberjack escapes Ewiz just in time, but that Lumberjack will still get on tower.
Wow, and that is not how you want to spend your elixir. That is not how you want to start game 3 of 1v1, and that is going to be brutal for Thunderstruck, now having to ice skate uphill.
And just, he's not even to worry about that tower at that point. Let it go, you can't win that fight. You have 90 seconds to save your squad's first match.
Unfortunately for him, he is going up against one of the coolest cats in all of CR. You see Vulcan kind of look over. Did you see what just happened there? Okay.
And so it is Royal Giant with the log mixed in, and it's Goblin Giant Sparky. You know, you see the Goblin Giant, you gotta think that it's gonna be Sparky.
Yep.
Very interesting set of support cards around it, though, from the Complexity player.
Yeah, usually we're never, ever seeing the Bandit in this deck. A different, I mean, you know, he kind of had a new bridge spam, you know, see a new Goblin Giant Sparky deck. And you see here now, Thunderstruck is just so distracted by having to play defense. The Sparky, oh my goodness, gets another shot in. Vulcan now 8 elixir to play defense against this very, very large counter push coming in for Thunderstruck. This could actually be a moment to even up the game.
If Thunderstruck just pours it on right here, he could make a big rush at this King Tower, has to decide whether he's going to play defense or really pour on the heavy metal, and decides instead just to reset and try to defend this next push and win it on the final act back end.
And you can see that he is going for the 3 crown. The Lumberjack comes down just in time to meet those guards, keep them distracted and off the Goblin Giant. Not at all what he wanted.
Bandit does not make it and keeps the Goblin Giant off the tower with the Furnace, so desperation plays do work out fairly well, although down to 670, that's not a lot left.
The fascinating thing about that was the Goblin Giant was distracted by the Furnace, but the Spear Goblins were not. They were still attacking that King Tower, and now down to 670 HP. We are very, very close to just getting spells cycled out, but Vulcan cannot get overzealous.
Yeah, you gotta wonder if Thunderstruck might change tack here. You see him going right-hand lane. He wants to force Vulcan to spend that direction and not give lightning value on that tower right now.
And now he's got a great moment of lightning value with the Furnace right there. He honestly doesn't even need to use the lightning, though, in this moment. Maybe just a little bit of an overcommittal.
And that's a dead Sparky. Ooh. It does get one shot, maybe a hair early with the RG, and now just melted down by that Lumberjack. So good idea by Thunderstruck. Doesn't quite get the sequence perfect, and now he's in a lot of trouble.
And now, exactly, there goes the oops. That was a very, very ill-advised Baby Dragon coming down, giving great lightning value. Now we just need a lightning and a snowball. Should do it for Vulcan. Gotta play defense, though.
A lot of lightning value, and if he can RG right here, he might be able to do this. Now you see trying to get the block. Yeah. That was what those guards were about, but mistimed, and Vulcan just perfectly plays that final sequence. Good ideas from Thunderstruck. Yes. The execution just slightly off.
Hey, look, it's his debut, and he played very, very well. But he got edged out by one of the best in the game and someone with a ton of experience. You see Complexity celebrating together. A very, very rocky start for a team that was so dominant last season. Very happy to take that first W.
Yeah, Vulcan has to be feeling fantastic. I mean, last year he was with some talented players, but really had to carry the squad for the first half of the season. Now he's surrounded by talent, and you're like, hey, maybe he won't shine as bright. Well, let me tell you something right now. Vulcan is still Vulcan, and he still plays at a world-class level.
Yes, and the fact that they have Adrian Piedra hanging out on their bench is just almost insulting. However, that's complexity. They've got a stacked roster. They have an incredible coaching staff. You see the sportsmanship on the floor here. A lot of them giving a nod to Thunderstruck. Hey, great debut from Thunderstruck, and a really, really nice showing from Energy. Carter and Hazard showing their dominance in 2v2 throughout this season so far. Complexity, though, really struggling in that set.
Yeah, it was kind of surprising there, but again, as we said top of the show, Carter and Hazard are no joke 2v2 players, and if they keep playing like that, Energy has a very good shot at performing highly this season, especially if they can fill out the rest of their roster as we move through these next few weeks.
Yeah, and Vulcan just looked unstoppable today. You saw him lose one game, but for the most part, he just played out of his mind, playing decks that we're very familiar with, and also decks that we are kind of familiar with most of, like 80% of the cards being played together, but swapping out a couple to kind of cater to his game play style and maybe even to counter his opponent.
The slight adjustments, and again, part of the concern with the no bans was that it might change, like make things just, it's all meta decks, it's all center.
Right.
And, you know, taking a look at some of what we've seen, RG Furnace has been played a lot, but also with a ton of weird different variations.
Yes.
And we just saw one more.
Yeah, and you know, if it works for you, then play it that way. And also, it's a great way to keep your opponent off their kilter. And you know, we saw that other one the other day, like you said, RG Furnace with Lumberjack and Guards. It was very, very successful. So I love it. We were all, there was a big question mark in the air. How is it going to be without the bans? It's been so much better. You don't know what you don't know, and now we know.
It's been a whole lot of fun, and to get a little more info, let's go down to the floor where Rachel's standing by with Vulcan.
Thank you guys so much. What an impressive match. Vulcan clearing out the King of the Hill, then wrapping it up in 1v1 there. You got to play against the entire roster for NRG over here for the King of the Hill. So who was your toughest opponent by far?
I was definitely most worried about Thunderstruck because he kind of showed up out of nowhere. We didn't scout him at all. Like, thankfully, I practiced with him before, so I kind of know the general decks he runs, but that was really scary, to be honest.
Did he bring anything that you felt like it was a little unexpected, something you weren't quite ready to play against, or once you saw his decks, were you feeling a little more confident?
No, it was pretty much what I expected.
Very nice. Well, you brought some interesting stuff today. We saw Mortar in a couple of your decks. Talk to me about when you choose to play that and what you think it synergizes best with.
I mean, what Mortar synergizes best? Well, it synergizes best with Rascals, probably. Rascals are just really good. And I mean, I just decided to play Mortar based on my opponent. Like, you'll see I play a lot of different variations. It's because depending on the opponent that I face, I'm going to use a completely different variation because it's better versus certain people.
What did you think when you got Thunderstruck again there for the 1v1 after playing with him, being confident, winning against him in King of the Hill? Then they send him back out to play you again.
I just wanted to win. After losing our first match, I'm just like, we really need to win under our belt. I was kind of stone-faced the whole time because I was just like, I need to concentrate. I can't get happy just because I swept King of the Hill. I have to get this win.
Well, concentrated you were. You had that stone face on when you played there, and it carried you to victory along with your excellent gameplay. We're going to send it back to the casters and break that match down.
Thanks a lot, Rachel. And yeah, I mean, that's typical Vulcan. You ask him a question and he goes, well, there are about 15 different answers to this question. Yeah. And really all those answers are important. And that's a big part of why he's such a talented player.
Yeah, I really love the response on why he played the variants that he did. And changing it up for every single opponent that he plays just lets you know the wealth of knowledge that he has under his belt. You know, that CR Season 1 for him was not only an icebreaker to let him know, let the fans know who he was, but it was also just, look at the strategy behind this man. As he said, he was stone-faced the whole time, even though he was terrified. I had no idea.
Yeah, if that's terrified,
right.
I mean, that's unbelievable. Just zeroed in tight. And of course, brilliant gameplay. What we expect, of course, like we said, Energy with a really excellent performance. Yeah. And we think that if they add those couple more pieces, with the way Carter and Hazard played, they might be a very difficult team to beat this season.
Yeah, you really got to keep your opponents guessing with only 3 players on the roster. It does make it very difficult.
Let's go ahead and move into our second match of the day.
Match 2, day 4, coming your way. Fnatic and Tribe are both 1-1 right now, looking to separate themselves from the rest of the squad. Fnatic had a rough showing last match against Cream, and you know, kind of a little bit opposite for Tribe, having a great matchup against Complexity as these gentlemen make their way to the floor.
Both of these squads have had moments of brilliance and moments of difficulty. Tribe, of course, with that beautiful sweep by Jay Monty in King of the Hill. Really great performance last time out. The big question is today, the day we see the debut of Spades wearing that black and red.
Yeah, we got B-Rad, Jay Monty, Tommy, Spades, and Nitram coming out for Tribe. As I said before, 1-1. Going up against their opponents, a hungry Fnatic team after their loss to Cream. Cream perfect at 2-0. We've got Javi, Faye, Mikhail04, and Asuchini coming out to play today. Now, Asuchini has not played yet here at CRL West, so maybe it will be his debut on the towers today.
And they put quite a lot on young Mikhail's back last time out, so we'll see if they shift the load when it comes to the head-to-head play.
And Javi 14, Javi 14 looking to continue to make an impact on CRL West. Here we go, match number 2, day number 4, CRL West.
Let's get into 2v2, and no big shockers here from Tribe. B-Rad and Jay Monty back together again. And a shakeup here on the Fnatic side. Today coming out, it's Faye and Mikhail rather than Javi.
And I love that. I think it's a very, very strong roster move. You want to have one of your 1v1 specialists available for that tiebreaker set. And as we're moving into week number 2, that's maybe an adjustment that Fnatic saw, maybe had them struggling in their previous match.
Fnatic top of your screen, Tribe at the bottom, and Tribe so far has been varying up their 2v2 play significantly. They've played double RG Giant Skeleton, they've played RG Giant Skeleton Graveyard with a freeze, and they played double Lava, so it looks like one more possible new deck here from the 2v2 squad from Tribe.
A lot of splash cards coming out early for Tribe as well, with the Ice Wiz, the Dark Prince, and the Baby Dragon, of course.
So maybe looking at a graveyard deck here from Tribe. Mikhail and Faye going at least RG Giant Skelly, maybe double. We'll see as that develops.
And an interesting drop there. You figured that the Giant Skeleton would have came down first, distracting the other Giant Skeleton and the Musketeer, and then dropping that big bomb. Maybe a slight misplay from the top of your screen in Fnatic.
Faye is 3-2 overall in 2v2 games at the moment. Mikhail, of course, making his opening set debut, and as my co-caster mentioned, the slight shift there, taking Javi 14 out of this set and making him available for 1v1, and of course, that's a spot where he can be so dangerous.
Yeah, that was a really nice snowball coming and taking out those bats, allowing the Musketeer to get 2 shots in. And Mikhail, who is 2-2 in King of the Hill, is still available for King of the Hill. So I really like it, as I said before. I think this could be a good move for Fnatic. And they still have Asuchini yet to play. He could always just sneak in there and bust out some Gob Giant Sparky and run the table. We've seen it before.
So we've seen the freeze so far from Tribe. Haven't seen the graveyard yet, but you have to assume that's part of this deck makeup.
Yeah, you really would. Otherwise, I mean, I guess it could maybe be a Royal Giant, but it just doesn't really seem to make a lot of sense.
So nice NATO to get the RG back and pull everything together for a little bit. Doesn't take full advantage, but still will be a sound defense on this side. 30 seconds left in regulation time.
Interesting Ice Wizard drop there by Tribe, kind of a waste. However, it does stay alive, but gets cleaned up by the E-Wiz there. There's the freeze, there's the graveyard, all NATO together, but does get a decent amount of health, and that is a Giant Skeleton, a very healthy Giant Skeleton right next to the tower.
Yeah, that should be within tower range, and kaboom, 425. Tribe now in a fantastic position in game 1.
The Giant Skeleton is one of the most frustrating cards to get an edge on you. Whenever you let a Giant Skeleton get to your tower, you're just like, what happened? How did I allow that to happen? You gotta imagine the freeze is gonna come in soon, or they don't even need it. The NATO is played poison.
B-Rad and Jay Monty with a dominant first game. So with that win, B-Rad and Jay Monty improved their game record so far in 2v2 to a 3-1. Faye now falling to an even 50%. And there is something to be said for experience playing together. B-Rad and Jay Monty have so many games under their belt as a pair. Yeah, I mean, not necessarily the best showing last season for B-Rad, but he did have 8 sets under his belt in 2v2, and Jay Monty was 6 of 6 in 2v2 with an overall game record of 13 and 14, batting just about even. Great lightning value there for Fnatic.
Gotta love that. So we'll see what adjustments Fnatic made. It looks like Tribe running back the same story as they did in round number 1.
Yeah, early and very aggressive graveyard freeze, so now they're going to have a lot to deal with, spending all that elixir on that push with their big counter push coming down from Fnatic. Surprisingly, Fnatic doesn't really double down. They kind of just send in a couple troops and just sit back.
Well, they weren't that far ahead on elixir at that moment, so I do like the more measured play here from Faye and Mikkel. First minute down, no one out to any significant lead.
All 4 players stone-faced and silent. You see Jay Monty now communicating a bit with B-Rad. He nods.
Things slowing down, both teams taking a measured pace. Lumberjack realizes it's time for his close-up and takes a big swing, clearing some stuff off the board. And here we go, nice timing on the lightning, knowing that graveyard push was coming in.
Oh,
but will
the freeze.
it be enough?
That was a great freeze there, getting just enough of a window for, and even the Bather Dragon gets on the tower. That was a huge push from Tribe.
You know, it's a tall order, Andrew, to sacrifice one spell spot for this theory, but I'm wondering if we're ever going to see double freeze in this 2v2 set. You freeze the first time, they drop troops, think they're good, you hit them the second time, and then you sit back, play defense with that tower down.
Well, now if it does happen, we all know who said it first. I would love to see that. And, you know, you might be left wanting really, really badly at some point defensively, but freeze defensively is really not a bad option. Obviously doesn't do a lot of damage, but I can definitely see someone pulling that out as kind of an ace up their sleeve to surprise their opponents at some point.
Here we go, final 30 seconds. Tribe in the lead in a pretty good spot. Defensive freeze against the lightning at this exact moment. So, you know, both teams taking opportunistic spells, and that freeze, despite the tower damage, does a good job of dealing with that push.
Yeah, and this Ram Rider kind of replacing what was a traditional Royal Giant in 2v2 in this deck seems to be faring moderately well for Fnatic, although those hits are a little bit less devastating for the Ram Rider. It feels like they have to work a little bit harder every single time.
Well, you mix that, Andrew, with the fact that the Ram Rider would have a lot more utility if you were up against, for example, Lava, which Tribe has been running in the past. But playing up against Graveyard, you lose some of the viability of that stun.
Right, because, you know, the Ram Rider is such a strong defensive card on very, very aggressive tower-focused cards, whereas, like, a Graveyard, you don't want to drop your Ram Rider in the middle of the Graveyard. So, yeah, this could be a really nice game plan from Fnatic, but it's just not kind of landing well for them with their matchup.
Nice sequence for Fnatic overall, but the perfect defense of Tribe really pays off. Just when you think their tower's in a ton of trouble, they do the best with what they have. We'll see if they can do it one more time here.
The interesting thing here is that Tribe has the kind of the disadvantage of not having as many powerful spells. So if Fnatic gets one more connection with the Ram Rider, they've got Log, Lightning, Poison, you know, all these things can come down and do a lot of damage.
So freeze out of cycle, not an option this time, and you see not a single hit point of damage from the graveyard, but 2 Musketeer shots sneak through. Lightning trying to beat the poison. That's not gonna happen. Tribe takes 2v2.
And you see the frustration on Mikkel's face. Faye kind of just takes off his headset. They both know they missed right there. And the double dab with the high five in the middle. Tribe is evolving.
heading into King of the Hill. And you can see in the towers behind me, no shocker there. Jay Monty taking his place on top of the tower, of course, after that big 3-game straight sweep against Complexity. Why not lead off with the hot hand?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be going up against Mikkel04, who is still trying to kind of find his footing here at CRL West. But Jay Monty's on a 5-game win streak, throwing in those 2v2 games. So this is going to be a really interesting showing for Jay Monty. Can he keep it going?
And Mikkel had a pretty good outing last time. Of course, in King of the Hill, he nearly ran the table himself against Cream, taking out Diego E and Jose Brand, but ran into the monster that is Lindsay right now, who then beat him in 1v1. It would be a big momentum shift for Mikkel to take out Jay Monty right now.
So two gentlemen who have played very, very well in King of the Hill, looking to put a stamp on their team this season.
Now, this is a very important note for those of you who watched Tribe's last game. It looks like Jay Monty has gone up yet another shirt size, so the power must be flowing through him right now.
I mean, he made it very, very clear to us that that was a big factor in his W's.
So Mikkel potentially showing some sort of spam, maybe, which has been so popular. RG Furnace looking like what Jay Monty's playing.
Fireball comes down with the login.
Oh, interesting. Triple spell. Makes me feel like I'm gonna see a giant when I see triple spell.
I just despise playing against giant triple spell, but one of the strongest archetypes in the game. There you go. I mean, it's basically a gimme when you see 3 spells in a row.
So maybe a double Prince here behind the giant, potentially a minor, although do you typically run minor with the triple spell?
I think so typically, but we have seen variants on very, very traditional meta decks today, so who knows if it's going to keep rolling. I would doubt against it, or bet against it, excuse me.
So it is Giant double Prince, and Jay Monty running RG Furnace, which I don't know if I mentioned it in the first match, but RG Furnace, one of the most popular archetypes, but with a shockingly low win rate.
Yeah. Yeah, Jay Monty's had success with this deck in the Moreno Cup. He took out Rayo with this exact deck.
Right now, I believe if we take a look at the data from last match mixed in, I think RG Furnace might be at about 30% overall.
I mean, you figure since it's so popular everywhere in the game that these pros have just experienced it so many times in GCs, and on ladder they've kind of probably figured out their best way to get around it.
Now, this is only the 3rd play of Giant Double Prince so far in CRL West, but it currently has a perfect 100% win rate.
Yeah, and this is the classic Giant triple spell double Prince. You know, you got the E-Wiz, you got both the Princes and the Mega Minion in there. A very tried and true deck. However, struggling a bit in the start here.
Yeah, Jay Monty in a really, really good position at this point. Tower down to 521, one more Fire Spirit,
wow.
And maybe Mikkel blinking under the lights a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that could definitely be what's happening, or maybe he's trying to create a very, very large push right here, but I do believe Jay Monty should be able to clean this up pretty easily.
Not even needing the lightning, he's just able to take care of this with support troops, so now he's gonna have RG and lightning in cycle. We should expect an RG potentially in front of this. There you go. And all it needs is one shot. You'll be in lightning range, and there's no real way for a lightning block here from Mikkel. Doesn't even, will he need it? Yeah, so Jay Monty gonna drop the lightning as it stops. No lightning block available for Mikkel.
Belch is gonna come in, no, wow, and lightning comes down. Jay Monty not even breaking a sweat. And you see the frustration on Mikkel's face. 1 up, 1 down for the man on a 6-game run.
Game 2, King of the Hill. Jay Monty on a tear. Faye up next. And look, Andrew, I'm not rooting for either player at this moment, but a part of me wants Faye to win just so we can finally see the debut of Spades.
And I'm sure that Jay Monty would love to see his teammate come out today, but at the same time, I bet another King of the Hill run would feel really, really great on his shoulders. And Faye's angry about something.
That or he just discovered emotes.
I remember the day that I figured out how to mute emotes, and my life and blood pressure have been exponentially better since that day.
I know exactly what you mean, Andrew, and I wish that I could sort of, I don't mute them.
Right.
But it's because when someone BMs, I want to know so that when I can beat them, I can just start dropping it on them.
So you're just a better person than I am, because what I always do is I unmute them in the end and BM them if I win.
Miner to the safe spot here for Jay Monty, and not the best pickup, but will mitigate some damage there with the Mega Minion.
Surprised to see the Miner coming out for Jay Monty. Usually when the Miner is in your deck, you probably want to attack quick and early and fast and do as much damage as you can in single elixir. But there are also like Mega Knight Miner, Giant Miner decks out there.
So an interesting Miner control deck here with Skeletons and the Dart Goblin.
Yeah, and an incredibly fast cycle as you see on the field.
Prince now down for Faye, and gotta wonder if Jay Monty's tucking away an Inferno Tower somewhere in this deck.
Yep, Jay Monty's got a Prince of his own. Probably gonna play Skeletons to distract the charge. Nice play, and the Mortar comes down.
And it's Mortar.
I have played with this deck a few times. It's a lot of fun, and the cycle makes it really, really hard to keep up with those Miners, especially if you're in a Mortar mirror match. Speaking from experience, of course.
Entering into double elixir time, and Jay Monty does have the slight lead. It's where you want to be when you're playing Miner control.
Comes down finally for Faye. So this is going to be a very, very big moment for both players here. The thing that's really, really nice about this Mortar deck is you can cycle back around to a second Mortar very, very quickly and very easily. And you've got great cards to distract all the units like the Baby Dragon, the Mega Minion that are going to clean up your splash cards. So Lightning comes down. You've got to expect another Mortar maybe after the log. There it is.
There you go, high Mortar, and is that going to be in range of the tower too? Potentially get a little chip damage as well, so that's a beautiful Mortar play.
But this is too much for Jay Monty to deal with in the bottom right hand of your screen, Rich. I can't see him actually getting out of this alive.
Yeah, you might have read it right. Miner comes in on defense, not going to be enough. Faye takes down Jay Monty, plays it slow and low. That's the tempo, takes the win.
And you saw Jay Monty's offense getting away from him a little bit there on that final Golem push. If he would have committed just a hair bit more to defense or opposite lane pressure, we could have seen a different outcome. But that's neither here nor there. Rich, ask and you shall receive.
I'm so excited to see this kid play from Southern California. It is Spades making his CRL debut.
Yeah, it says here his favorite deck is the classic Battle Ram Peckett E-Wiz Bridge Spam version. Very curious to see if he plays that today. Obviously not opening up with the Lava Hound. Let's see what Faye's got in store.
So Faye maybe playing Goblin Giant Sparky with the Hunter,
Yep,
and there you go, Goblin Giant comes down. Spades did not play in the first two matches for Complexity, so finally getting his chance.
Like a slight overcommit with the bats there. It seemed like it would have been cleaned up just fine. He would have himself in a 2 elixir lead and the tower damage.
But a raged up Ceiling Fan doing the damage there. Nice opening salvo from Spades.
Yep, very, very well played.
Shout out to all you Ceiling fans out there.
It just looks like one, okay? Faye here looking to switch lanes, and Spades doing the correct thing in matching him. He doesn't have that big of a lead on the left-hand side, so you want to play into this Gob Giant Sparky push.
Now it's going to be interesting to see how Spades deals with that Sparky. You see doing a good job splitting the guards there, but he does not have a second ground troop to deal with that Sparky. That's going to be a Sparky shot.
Yeah, that is a tower down, it looks like, with the barbs, with the Spear Goblin. The Sparky gets another shot in. Very, very well executed by Faye. That was just mastercraft right there.
Yeah, Spades knows he got caught out, and I was wondering what his plan was for the Sparky. Split the guards well, but had nothing else to pick up a Sparky shot there on the back end.
Yeah, the guard split, I'm sure Faye was expecting. You saw that bar barrel coming in quick to clean most of those things up and distract, preserving the health of the Sparky. Very, very well played.
A clone coming here, maybe an early clone. There you go. So we do get a little bit of rage boost, but not a lot of bang for your buck here. Guard's gonna come deal with the Sparky on the left-hand side. Perfect timing, so not gonna eat that shot. But look at that, tower on the right-hand side. Ooh, that's in a lot of trouble here.
Yeah, that clone came in at the very, very perfect time. Excellent call by you, if I may say so myself. And that Hunter did almost all the work that Faye needed, but it going down with those clone pups allowed all that damage to come in on that right-hand tower, but I still think it's too little, too late.
Yeah, Faye's got this one pretty wrapped up now. That Lava Hound's not going to get there in time with the Rage going opposite lane. The clone's not going to be enough. Faye with a great second win. You see, he's just turning away, celebrating. He knows he played that picture perfect.
Sage shaking his head. Faye now 5-1 in King of the Hill.
Getting into game number 4, Faye on a nice 2-game win streak in King of the Hill. And now a lot of questions across the way from him. It's Tommy. And we're gonna get an answer here maybe on what level he's playing at right now. So far this season has not been overly kind to the Nicaraguan.
No, it really has not. He's been 0-2 on this season in King of the Hill, whereas last year he was 2-0 in King of the Hill.
Not to mention the 0-2 he had in his 1v1 set against Eddie. So currently 0-4 overall in head-to-head games.
Considering last season he opened up with like an 11-0 game record or something outrageous like that. This has not been the start he expected. And we're probably seeing giant double prints here coming from Tommy.
And some bridge spam here from Faye.
So if Faye has the P.E.K.K.A in his deck, it will be interesting to see how Tommy's giant fares against it, but he does have a lot of very high DPS cards to follow it up.
Faye looking maybe it's gonna be 3M ramp.
Yeah, definitely. And you see the fireball coming down. Faye does love this 3M deck. We haven't yet seen the 3 Musketeers here at CRL, and we definitely will be now. With this deck composition, there's almost no other archetype that favors well to these cards.
Yeah, nice value there on the fireball for Tommy. So look, there are some fireball bait aspects here between the minion horde and the 3 Musketeers.
And of course the pump there, something you never want to leave on the field that long, but Tommy does have the miner to focus on the pump.
And look at that. So the Ice Golem does, I was gonna say, the Ice Golem has to be in cycle if Faye's making that play in single elixir.
Yeah, very, very well played. And this will clean up that Prince with a huge
Look at the shake of the head from from Tommy. He knows Faye just played that perfect.
Yeah, he really, really did. And now he's gonna have to completely ignore the Musketeer in the left-hand lane to stop this big push in the right. Very, very well played by Faye.
Barb's escape gets some tower damage, and look, Tommy's not far behind. Some good damage in the right-hand lane, but that entire 15 to 20-second sequence went just about as well as it possibly can for the Fnatic player.
Yeah, and that's why you saw the shake of the head from Tommy, is because Tommy played right into it with giving him that Prince, that positive 3 elixir trade. And right there is an amazing, amazing fireball. This is a turn in the match right now. That was way too aggressive by Faye. He knows it already.
Yeah, now 2 Princes coming down. Miner, that Miner almost did the most brilliant move, taking the Bandit and the Dark Prince behind, but a beautiful Ice Golem by Faye to pull the double Prince to the middle and mitigate that brilliant move done by his opponent.
Yeah, and look at the elixir lead here from Tommy. And now with the nerf on the deploy time of the Musketeers, that zap fireball is going to happen every single time if they're in cycle. And Faye feeling the heat. Tommy back to fighting form.
Tommy had that loaded up and ready to go. And there you go, fireball to end it. Wow, that was just beautiful play by beautiful play by beautiful play. I feel lucky we got to watch that one.
Game 5 coming at you.
You gotta love this, going to a game number 5 and a treat of a matchup we get here. Tommy facing off against the man who was the Cinderella story of the World Finals, Javi 14.
Yeah, this is gonna be a barn burner, as they say. This is about as evenly matched as it gets. So now we're gonna have to see what starting hand and matchup give us. And it looks like with Furnace, we could be seeing RG definitely with the guards, and probably at the top of the screen when you see Tombstone, you see Bar Barrel, and now you see Baby Dragon. It's going to be Graveyard.
So I'm gonna wonder how long teams keep going with RG Furnace, given the challenges it's been experiencing so far this season. It's really kind of been hovering on the lower end of success rates overall. And maybe not with the Ice Golem.
Really, Graveyard hasn't been doing that well either, other than one gentleman who is known for playing Splash Yard very, very well, and that is our friend, the God RF.
So it's RG for Javi 14, so does not end up being Splash Yard.
Yeah, that was it was funny. I was actually going to say it could end
And it's
up
Graveyard
wow.
for Tommy.
There you go.
I was wondering when I saw the Ice Golem come in with the Furnace, I was wondering, are you going to try to get the Furnace, the Fire Spirits behind to add pressure with the Ice Golem? But I felt so sort of out of sorts, going, wait a second, RG should be that side.
And I was actually going to say, if you remembered last season, and I really wish I did now, is that this deck came out for a while. The Baby Dragon Ice Wizard Tombstone, coupled with the Tornado, or paired with Tornado, was so powerful defensively, it was almost impossible to break through, and we saw a lot of it at the end of last season.
And there you go, Javi knowing the Tombstone's not really picking up stuff on the front end, putting it behind the King Tower to deal with any potential Graveyard push, but unfortunately gives a little bit of poison value there and gets taken care of easily.
Meet it here with the Mega Minion, but the Mega Minion comes down to meet the other Mega Minion, trying to keep that Baby Dragon alive and get that Furnace out of play.
Lightning gets rid of Furnace fairly easily. That RG's doing a ton of work on the left-hand side, and now you see here the Tombstone, the Bar Barrel. This is really nice Graveyard defense from Javi.
Yeah, Javi's playing very, very well, and Tommy having a tough time breaking through. Definitely getting some damage in, but he's in a huge deficit. If it, I mean, only about 400 to 500 HP, but with the Lightning and the Royal Giant, that's a big, big gap.
So now I'm very interested by the track that Tommy's taking here. I'm kind of surprised by the Graveyard play at this point. I thought he might play more defense and try to win the spell game, but against Lightning, that's really hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, what you're going to start to see is Tommy's going to have to play very, very high and wide Furnaces, if you will, to keep away from the left-hand tower. You cannot give any Lightning value at this point. I'm actually very surprised he played it right there, and now you're going to see the Royal Giant's going to come in. The Lightning will most likely come down.
No, because he has the Ice Wiz far, so actually gets some nice back to the Ice Wiz.
The fact that that stayed alive is just devastating.
And this is time you see High Tombstone trying to stop the Ice Golem from tanking for those Graveyard skeletons, and still cleaned up very nicely.
Both the Rascal Girls are on the left-hand tower getting tanked for by the Rascal Boy. That's going to get down below 500 HP.
Whoa, and now that opens things up a lot for Tommy. He can start switching lanes.
Yes,
there you go.
exactly.
He poisons here. This is going to make it a lot harder for Javi Catorze to support these RG pushes.
And Javi kind of looking confused on his face. He doesn't really know what happened there. Now we are within spell cycle range, essentially.
Wow, that's it.
I was going to say, you got to get the poison down there, and we're in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, we're in poison range. Lightning doing its duty, but there you have poison down. Tommy just took it. Tribe takes this thing in 2 sets, and Tommy, you can see the sigh of relief. Gotta feel good, kind of shaking off the struggles he had earlier on in the season and clutching things out for Tribe here in a very, very close match against Javi.
And you look at his team looking on adoringly, their man bringing it home in 2. They did not want to have to go to that 1v1 set. Now, not to say they wouldn't have fared well, but if you can take it in 2, if you can end it in King of the Hill, if you can give Tommy the confidence that he needs to move forward, that's exactly what you want. Tribe Gaming feeling on top of the world, 2-1 now.
And you can see just how relieved Tommy looks right now. You have to imagine, with the addition of 2 younger, less experienced competitive players, that Tommy felt a lot of weight on his shoulders, being the guy to carry the head-to-head matches. Look, not to say that Spades and Nitram aren't talented players, but, you know, the squad was really looking to Tommy with the way he's performed internationally, and, of course, last year in CRL. And to start off the way he did had to hurt, had to be frustrating, but then to do what he just did to Faye and Javi back-to-back, that is exceptionally impressive and has got to make him feel confident moving forward in this season.
And one of the biggest things about last season was that Tommy came in late. You know, what would the outcome been of his team last season had he been there since day 1? And then you get CRL West, you get season 2, and you're like, man, Tommy's been here since day 1. It's not going very well. today, that all changed. He takes down, as he said, Javi Catorce, one of the best in the world, with an amazing, amazing heads-up play throughout that entire set.
Well, it was the Rascals behind that left Princess Tower, setting up to defend against what I'm assuming he was expecting to be a Royal Giant push.
Yeah.
But those Rascals went coast to coast, and as you said, the Rascal boy tanking for the Rascal girls, somehow they got on tower, and suddenly he was in a whole new situation.
Yeah, and even with the nerf coming on the Rascal boy, slowing down his attack speed, it's really about the Rascal girls. They do so much damage so quickly, and Javi, I think he just kind of looked down and was like, oh my gosh, this is very, very bad, and then you called it. Being able to switch lanes, play those poisons, it was game over.
Well, Javi had to feel like he was in great place. He was making really, really good defensive moves on that right-hand tower, and with how buffed up and full his left-hand tower was, he had to be sitting there going like, I'm not worried about that tower. I'm defending over here. Great. I'll get an RG down. But then once that tower got hurt, it also made it impossible for him to put some significant support behind another RG push.
And I'm wondering if that one specific push, when I spoke, I was like, oh, this is probably when the Lightning's going to come in. And it didn't come in because the Ice Wizard was taking care of the Tombstone, which actually looked like it was working out great for Javi. Maybe that one Lightning is what he needed.
Yeah, that's a big, big question. Look, he was he wasn't quite at Elixir. It would have been playing that Lightning directly at 6 to get the value out of it. So maybe he made a choice of, I can't spend this much when I know I have to deal with a counter push potentially. I can't, or the graveyard in the opposite lane potentially. You know, so he's a little concerned about that. But in the end, it was Tommy getting a big 2-punch out to finish this. So let's go down to the floor while Seltzer is standing by with our victors.
Thank you guys so much. I'm down here with Tribe, and we've got Tommy here to talk to after his explosive victory there, bringing it home for the team. I want to know, how much does your competitive experience come into play here, as you've played in these tournament settings before?
Básicamente lo que dice es que cómo afecta tu experiencia competitiva a venir a jugar acá a la CRL.
En verdad, experiencia competitiva no tengo mucha, a pesar de que jugué la CRL pasada, pero todavía me sigo poniendo nervioso como una persona normal, así que pues...
He basically says that he doesn't have a lot of experience, except for last season in CRL, and he still gets the jitters like a regular person, so he's fine.
Well, that's still a little bit more experience than some of your teammates have. You have 2 new players on the team this year. I want to know, do you feel any extra pressure? The casters are wondering as well, to carry your team to victory and to help teach them the ropes.
Básicamente lo que dice es cómo sentís que tengas jugadores nuevos en el equipo y cómo se siente tener que llevarlos y ayudarlos a un camino a la victoria.
A ver, primero que nada, de los compañeros, pues muy bien, me llevo muy bien con todos ellos, a pesar de que tengamos la frontera del idioma, pero nos llevamos muy bien todos y pues sinceramente no considero que haya carrileado porque tuvieron que ganar el 2 contra 2, así que...
He says that he gets really well along with all his teammates, despite the language barrier, but they can communicate in different ways, and he didn't feel like he carried because like we're a team and we all play together.
That's a wonderful attitude to have going into this team-based competition here. You brought some interesting decks. What was your favorite to play in the tournament so far?
¿Cuál fue tu deck favorito jugar en todo el torneo?
En este CRL. El mazo del cementerio, sinceramente pienso que es un mazo muy interesante, casi no se mira porque es una versión un poco antigua, se podría decir, así que ese es para mí el más divertido.
He says that the most fun deck to play is the graveyard deck that he played in the last game because it's the one that requires a lot more skill, that is a bit more antique, but he really likes it.
It's fun for you to play, fun for us to watch, and we're going to send it back up to the casters now to break it down. Hope that's fun too.
Thank you very much, Tommy, again, being a consummate teammate, really excited to be there with his squad. And yeah, we enjoyed watching that graveyard play as well. And he, again, played it so beautifully. And we got to see so much fun stuff. That match he had with Faye, where they were each making just high-level pro play after high-level pro play. That's one to go back and look at game tape and learn from.
And the thing about Tommy is he said this last season, and it's still true today, is he can play any archetype. That's how he learned to play the game. And that graveyard appears to be his favorite.
We still have one more to go. Let's get into it. It's already been an amazing day here for match day 4 at CRL West. And Andrew, you know, they say you save the best for last. Sometimes that really does pay off. We have two of the best in the West, Cream facing off against Immortals.
Yeah, #1 and #3 going head-to-head. Now, obviously, Immortals has only played their one match, but they swept it 5-0. And we're very, very curious if we're going to see Lapakati make his CRL debut.
If they even get there, the way they've been playing so far, murdering in 2v2, sweeping in King of the Hill, you might have to put him first on King of the Hill just to see him. Of course, Cream Esports, they have been fantastic. The way Lindsay has been playing, their coach Drexen has been making some phenomenal deck choices, and I'm so excited to see these two squads go head-to-head. And look at the two young stars, Jose Brian and, of course, our friend Crap in the front with the style on both sides of the aisle.
I was going to say we got the bling on the left, the pink on the right. On the left-hand side of your screen, our home team today is going to be Cream. We got Lindsay, Jose Brian, Diego E, and Flash coming out, trying to stay perfect. The first team to hit 2-0 at CRL West. Will they be able to step over the North American champions of last year?
And across from them, of course, you know them. It's Immortals and Crap, the God RF, the beautiful 2v2 duo. And you see a little maybe adjusting there, Royal and the young new upstart Lapakati, who finished not just first on ladder, but third at the same time this weekend. Are you kidding me? And I heard didn't use Mortar for either of those, so we'll see what he does today. It's Immortals versus Cream. Let's go!
Flash and Diego E making their way to the podium for their second showing in 2v2, having a lot of success in their last match. And of course, Crap and the God RF across the way from them on the battlefield. A new team going up against a very seasoned duo.
Flash and Diego E did play very well their last time out, taking the 2v2 win off of Javi and Faye. I believe that was in 3 games. And going minor to open here is Cream at the bottom of your screen, Immortals, Crap, the God RF at the top.
Sneaking in a little snowball spell value there.
Now, I know Immortals had a pretty heavy practice yesterday preparing for this one. And I gotta say that Crap looks like he might have had a little less sleep than normal, but very possible he's still completely dialed in. You can see the communication. Look at the way both he and RF are talking right now.
And Graveyard comes down once again in 2v2. Seen a lot of Graveyard today.
A lot of Graveyard in 2v2, but not a lot of success so far. So we'll see if Immortals is the squad to turn it around.
Yeah, it seems like the Graveyard success has mainly come in the 1v1 or King of the Hill sets. 2v2, as you said, struggling just a bit.
And again, take a look at the communication. You see RF and Crap talking a lot and keeping an eye on Flash and Diego E. Both playing pretty silently right now. Maybe mostly just indicating with drags rather than there you see now Flash starting to open up.
Yeah, playing that miner right into the Inferno Tower. Not ideal, but they also do not want to get NATO to the King Tower, which NATO is most assuredly in hand when you see the cards. Giant Skeleton, Baby Drag, you got the Ice Wizard up there.
Mega Knight in the back here from Flash, so very, very interesting. Getting ready to do a big push.
Recognizing the Inferno Tower is out of cycle, that being the best tank killer. However, going to run right into that Giant Skeleton. And if and when that Giant Skeleton goes down, all the support troops for Cream will as well. So as you see, they do not support their push.
And gets across pretty nice and easy. And one that Skeleton's going to help with the river, but also get that Baby Dragon across. Baby Dragon does not pick up the Princess Tower aggro, but still, look at that damage. Poison, Graveyard, and Immortals currently in the driver's seat with 45 seconds left in game number 1.
Yeah, doing a great job getting that Graveyard in, recognizing that their opponents could not stop them at the river. And as you said, the Baby Dragon was not actually taking for the tower, but it did not matter. A huge, huge assault on Cream's right-hand tower.
Cream going left now, forcing Immortals to play opposite lane, take some pressure off of that tower. It's in a lot of trouble. And look at that interaction. It ends up pushing the Ram Rider to the outside. NATO, though, beautiful NATO play. Do not let the God RF have a NATO. That's what he'll do with you every single time. We've seen it over and over.
Yeah, they know when to save it and when to use it for its maximum utility. You see right now that Breeze coming down with the Graveyard, not getting many skeletons, if any skeleton hits in. but that tower is below 600 HP.
That Ram Rider nearly decimated Immortals on the left-hand side, but just able to avoid the truly devastating damage, and now we are in sudden death overtime. And again, Immortals meeting the Mega Knight at the bridge, taking care of it pretty well, and that Giant Skeleton, they are just doing a great job of playing it high and cleaning up the support.
Miner sent in right on top of the Ice Wizard. Not what Cream wanted to see. They're going to need a miracle to come out of this first game on top.
And you see Graveyard Poison, the Poison high there to deal with that Electro Whiz. They do need to stop this Ram Rider, though. Don't want to eat too much, down to 176. That's going to be it. Spell will come in soon, and they can just play some defense. Immortals with an excellent opening game here in this high-profile match against Cream.
And that's what you see. That's where the experience really comes into play, or comes in as a factor, Rich. Is they're just, no matter what Cream threw at them, I mean, their towers were basically at 3/4 health throughout this entire game, and they're just, you know, he leans over, hey, good job, let's fist bump, cool, let's go on to the next game. Deuces, match start, game number 2 coming your way.
Game number 2, Immortals looking clean, smooth, relaxed, in the flow. And, you know, Andrew, they kind of got shocked last season in the decks they encountered in Asia from playing against Ponos. And I just don't see them getting surprised again this season. I think that's going to be, I think they learned a lesson there, and it's going to make them even more frightening than they were in Season 1.
I couldn't agree with you more. You know, that was a really dominant display for the boys in blue in this first game. But as you said, the World Finals were really rough for them. And they admitted it. They said that they did not come prepared. They got rocked by CR Asia and their meta in 2v2. And so, you know, this is something that's really going to be something to pay attention to and see how much they adjust. And so far, they have been perfect. The other thing that I think is very interesting and kind of hilarious is only 2 players from Immortals have even made their CRL West debut. Royal and Lapicati have not played yet.
Well, maybe we'll see them today. Of course, there's still 2 more games left of 2v2 to be played, which will have a big impact on what we do and don't see as the day goes on. And now P.E.K.K.A, Mega Knight, both in the game for Cream Esports, giving them lots of options, especially if they are against Royal Giant. But you know, now gotta wonder with the minor play, what is Immortals actually going for?
Yeah, that was a very nice defense played, although that Dark Goblin is doing work. Finally cleaned up at the end. A slight damage deficit, and you can see the God RF, they're probably making a bit of an adjustment to crap and this next defense that's going to be coming their way.
Really nice work here, blocking the Mega Knight and Lumberjack with the Dark Prince to let the Inferno Tower do its job. It's a building that, you know, you think the building will take the damage. Well, no, spend a little less elixir, keep that DPS up there, and the building will do the work.
Yep, and a Baby Dragon Belch does get in, but about 200 damage separates the top from the bottom, with Cream at a slight advantage.
So Cream with a lot of options here, running Mega Knight and, oh, and look at that. Wow. Knew something was coming, dropped a massive rocket on their head. Ram Rider down, P.E.K.K.A in trouble, damage on the tower. That was about as high a value as a rocket you can get on tower.
Yeah, just a wonderful play. You knew that they had it loaded and ready to go. That, like you said, the non-stop communication between the God RF and Ockrap, and that is a perfect example of how it can pay off.
A little low on elixir here, though, but just enough to get that Inferno Tower down. Ram Rider will connect to the Inferno Tower, but the important thing off of the Princess Tower. 20 seconds left in regulation time.
And that is a healthy enough Inferno Tower that if they keep it protected, it should do a lot of work on this Mega Knight's HP. And they do right there a bit early on the Dark Goblin, and it goes down quickly. So the last Dark Goblin was huge value for Cream. This one, not so much.
And Miner to the inside, picked up by the Dark Prince, so doesn't pay off all the way, but still nice defensive sequence there for Immortals. And now, yeah, they just got double duty from the Giant Skeleton and the Fireball Rocket in defense. And you see Josh, crap there with the fist pump. Yes, I nailed that.
And there it is again, the Miner combined with the Rocket. This time Cream doesn't bite as hard, but those guards do get on the tower, it looks like. Mega Knight comes down, and that is going to be good game. This is no slight on Cream, but Akrap and the God RF are playing on a different level. I mean, they've even practiced their celebratory handshakes.
Wow. And the synergy, the way that Akrap and RF were working together, you saw them. They were pulling off moves. They weren't just playing, they were doing moves.
And we were waiting for Spell Cycle to happen. Here it came, and it dominated. King of the Hill up next.
Heading into King of the Hill, you have a pretty well-tested roster from the side of Immortals, of course, with their young debuting star who we might see today, Lapacati. And leading off for Cream Esports, the young star from Latin America, Jose Brian, who, you know, is unbelievably talented, manages the micro game so well, but I don't know if he's gotten quite comfortable yet. A win against RF could set him off and be the start of something great.
And RF starting off hot and heavy with the Hog Rider at the river, and he's also 7-0 in games. Just to throw that in there real quick.
Just to throw that out there, I mean, of course, last season you had Razor opened up with the big, I think it was like 11-0 start or 10-0 start. So the God RF off to a pretty hot one here as well, and looking like he's running Hog EQ, Hog Earthquake.
And Jose Brian playing the Inferno Dragon, not a card we've seen a lot in 1v1 play, but obviously a very, very, very strong card in the game. However, with his matchup, not going to find a true place to kind of take down a heavy tank or anything like that. Probably going to be used against the Valkyrie the most.
So Ram Rider, that's certainly annoying for a Hog, although he might get, does not. Wow, perfect timing on the Ram Rider. And you saw RF there kind of flick his eyes up for a second.
Yeah.
A little annoyed now seeing the entire situation across from him.
He's sitting there thinking, what can I do to break through? And I don't have an answer for you, honestly. The God RF, he's got all the answers. He's got the E-Wiz, he's got the Ram Rider, he's got the Mega Knight. That's going to be a really tough matchup for the God RF.
A lot of really nasty Hog counters here, and so far it looks like, especially because we set this big spell, no building to land that Earthquake on as well.
And a very nice snowball coupled with the bar barrel. I did not think that he was going to be able to play that defense as well as he did. I thought there were going to be a slight breakthrough, but masterfully played, and even 2 Hog hits in on that right-hand tower.
Wow, very beautifully played here by RF. Now entering into double elixir time, slightly ahead by about 800-ish hit points. But again, now that this heavier deck's starting to get some double elixir behind it, he might have to really play with fast fingers to stay ahead of this defense.
And as you can see, he's starting to cycle cards in the back. He needs to play with his elixir so very carefully, efficiently, but also he needs to get it all out on the floor as soon as possible. And a great, great stop to that Mega Knight.
Finally, some tower damage here for Jose Brian with the poison on tower down to 23-18. 30 seconds left in regulation.
So far, the God RF has just played the defense as well as it can go, and now he's going to switch lanes, which is really what he needs to do. He just can't keep running into that Mega Knight and Ram Rider and Inferno Dragon and Bandit. Like, he's got to switch it up.
So now a high Mega Knight Inferno Tower, though, in cycle. Can he protect it? Valkyrie comes down, but the Inferno Tower not getting on the Mega Knight. Mega Knight getting protected very, very nicely. Now it finally does. Knock it. Oh, and that's a beautiful Hog Rider.
And you know what else was excellent was you saw that he varied up where he played the Inferno Tower just a couple tiles lower so that those minions did not eat it up. Now, it did distract the Inferno Tower with the minions. It was a great play by Jose Brian, but the God RF is playing basically perfect.
And just an annoying bar barrel, forcing Jose Brian to play a little bit faster this time around. That Barbarian demanding a response. And again, Hog opposite lane the second that Mega Knight comes down.
Yes, as soon as that Mega Knight comes down, that is exactly the play to do. The snowball comes in, allowing him to get another Hog hit in, and he's just got to keep it up. He's got to keep up exactly what he's doing, not get overzealous, and keep playing strong defense.
How does Jose Brian change this up? Like, what does he do to break through the defense of RF?
I think he needs to just go all out in one lane, but it's near impossible. I mean, he does keep playing the Mega Knight in the back, which I don't know if that's the best play because it's something he could drop on the Hog Rider and create a big counter push, but you know, Jose is a much better player than I am, Rich. It just doesn't seem to be working out for him.
Yeah, and it's 7 elixirs spent when you know this fast cycle Hog Rider deck can get back around. And now a second Inferno Tower to pick up. Wow, unbelievable. Down to 7-16. RF firmly in the driver's seat as we are a minute 20 into sudden death.
And just playing out of his mind. Even that right there. Look, the Barb is tanking for the one bat. Both towers below 900 HP. And in an initial game that looked like the God RF was frustrated with this matchup, he is dominating.
Ram Rider in the back.
It appears Jose is starting to hold his Mega Knight, now playing different cards in the back. Maybe gonna drop it on top of the Valkyrie?
Maybe, but he has to get wild. There's only a minute left, and RF has a massive lead, and we are in a lowest tower situation. So the single lowest tower on the board gives its owner the loss, and right now that's the 604 on the right side of Jose Brian.
And a great zap there to reset by Jose Brian, but an even better high Valkyrie to stop. The snowball comes in. This should allow one Hog Rider hit. That is massive.
Wow.
And you see the frustration on Jose Brian's face. He doesn't really understand what happened. How am I supposed to break through? Both these towers are above 2,000 HP, and we played 5.5 minutes.
This is absolutely insane. I mean, RF about to add an 8th win. As long as he defends cleanly here, an 8th win in a row to start the CRL West season. A season that is decidedly more stacked player-wise than last season was, and he is starting off completely on fire.
Yeah, and now he doesn't need to do anything. He just can hang out, spell cycle, you know, get another poison down, cycle cards in the back. Golden.
This is wild. This is just absolutely wild. The God RF taking the first game of King of the Hill. 2 more to come, and he looks like he's just relaxing on his back porch.
Game 2 coming your way. Eight games in a row for the God RF, Rich.
It's so nutty, and look, he has Diego E in front of him, a very talented player. It's so hard to imagine someone. Look, you might beat the God RF right now. You're not going to make him nervous.
No, and here's the thing. At this point, the God RF deserves like a loss in the sense of like for his team. He's done so much for his team. If he loses now, I mean, the man has done so much. So Diego E here, he's fallen to Carnage and Mikkel 04 in 2v2, now up against the God RF, who has not found a loss yet at CRL West.
So Diego E may be going with the same deck as his teammate Jose Brian just ran. And the God RF looking like he's playing possibly Minor Prince.
Yeah, I mean, it does look like that Minor Prince poison control deck. And his deck variance has just been all over the board, Rich. It's excellent. There goes the Minor coming in with the bats.
Minor to the back, yeah. The God RF did play this Minor Prince deck the other day during that 3-game King of the Hill sweep.
Yeah.
Of course, got to win with that, so he's feeling pretty confident.
Got to win with everything, so he's feeling pretty confident. The Bandit just stops a dash short. What's up?
Diego E has played Ram Rider Bridge Spam before this season. He played the P.E.K.K.A. Musketeer version and took a loss in that game. So with a different variation this time around, and he will find a place for that Inferno Dragon now a little better against that Prince in the Minor.
Yes, definitely. And a great set of bats to distract the Inferno Dragon, keeping that Prince healthy. As you said, a great way for the Inferno Dragon to be used is against the Prince. Distracted by the bats, not so much.
RF Miners to the inside, and Diego tries to catch on the back, but doesn't get it. Yeah, and you're right, Andrew, perfect bar barrel.
He gets it in just in time to keep the Mega Knight from starting his jump. Excellent snowball value coming in. Electro Wiz does not get down in time to get the charge stopped.
Ram Rider does connect, but still a pretty darn good sequence here for RF. Diego E, though, back in the mix, and if he can get the lead, it's going to make it very hard for RF as we get the double elixir time.
Leaking a little bit of elixir, trying to figure out what his next play is. Ewiz does come down in time to stop the Prince charge. but great poison value from the God RF.
Great job by Diego to spread those two troops out so the snowball could not affect both.
And here you see, this is a thing that lesser or newer players have a very hard time doing, is committing to the opposite lane when they've already done so much damage to one tower. But as you see right there, that switch up gave him such a huge amount of damage on that left tower.
And look at this, the Prince to pick up the Mega Knight, and the Inferno Tower picks up the Ram Raider on the inside, and RF got so much value off of that Prince, Spear Goblin, and Bats play.
And you see Diego kind of being like, well, yeah, you got me right there.
Yeah, that was some nice timing there. RF knew the Zap was in cycle. Play it, get out of cycle. Let's not have to worry about that when I'm on defense on the back end.
So with the Mega Knight coming down in the back, you think a huge push is going to come in on both sides, in my opinion. I think the Ram Rider needs to go left, and I like the Mega Minions behind, or the minions behind the Mega Knight on the right, but it doesn't look like that's the case.
Prince plays a little high here. Mega Knight, though, picked up by the bar barrel. Wow. Wow, that's all you can say is wow.
Yeah, I mean, just when it looked like the God RF had made a misplay, and actually, technically, he did make a slight misplay, but he recovered from it just fabulously.
Well, one of the things that their coach, trainer Luis, said about the God RF, and this relates to last season's World Finals, during the seeding tournament, they played RF instead of Royal. And the reason why was that seeding tournament was so stressful to place who went where in the actual World Finals, and you had the who's who of international Clash Royale. LCOP, Javi 14 was in there, Expo Master, it's Soaking. It was crazy. And the coach trainer Lee said that RF is tilt proof, and this is a tilting situation. And you see right here, he's just so unbelievably calm even after making a mistake.
And the other thing they said about that seeding tournament was that everyone was expecting to play Royal, so catch him off guard with the God RF. Here's the thing. Everyone else in CRL West has been preparing to play Royal and Lapakati, expecting the God RF and Oddcraft to dominate in 2v2. No one expected the God RF to be doing what he's doing in these 1v1 sets. And again, this is about to be his 9th game in a row he's gonna take. And Diego's playing scared, and I don't fault him because you can't let the miner get on tower again, but you saw the bandit drop right there to pick it up.
Miner to the back, Snowball will probably come in here, Poison.
A great Snowball.
And there you have it, tower down. The God RF now 9 in a row. Can anybody stop this kid from Tucson, Arizona? This is the matchup we really want to see, because talk about runs. Lindsay so far this season 7-2 in head-to-head play, and I am so excited to see what he does here against the God RF.
He's taking out Carnage when Mikkel, Faye, all in King of the Hill.
Not to mention beating Mikkel in a 1v1 set as well, and Wen in a 1v1 set.
Oh, excuse me, Wen in King of the Hill and not Faye. But Lindsay got to be feeling great after playing, and this is shocking. I'm just going to stop my thought right there. If they're running back the same deck 3 times in a row, I just feel like that's not the best idea. And you see God RF here with the Bowler. Rich, the Bowler, one of your favorite cards in the game. You know Graveyard's coming.
Yeah, and I maxed Bowler. I think that was my first epic that I maxed. Love Bowler. And love to see the God RF going with what he knows best. A little bit of Splash Yard coming here from the well-known Splash Yard player. And Bowler in, look, you just ran Ram Rider twice, and you're like, look, dude, you want to run Ram Rider 3 times? I'm going to drop a Bowler in its face.
Yep, and that Bowler perfectly counters the Ram Rider, and you saw that ice was played in the exact spot that he needed to be to stop the Electro Wizard and the Inferno Dragon. A great positive elixir trade for the God RF.
I'm a little shocked right now with the way Ram Rider keeps being doubled down on. Coming into the day, Ram Rider was only at a 41-42% win rate, but one of the highest play rates in all of CRL West, and we've seen it twice today, and it's lost twice today as well, so its win rate keeps on dropping here amongst the pros.
Yeah, and in a very aggressive Baby Dragon Graveyard combination, it's met with an Inferno Dragon and a Poison. not a bad Elixir trade, but he does have a healthy Inferno Dragon to deal with.
Final minute of regulation. We are in double Elixir, and it is the God RF slightly ahead, but Lindsay has drawn blood on the right-hand side.
And then I was going to say the Mega Knight's got to be coming down soon, most likely in the back, and this is going to be the push that kind of decides how the rest of the match is going to go. How is the God RF going to deal with this Mega Knight, Ewiz, most likely Ram Rider coming in?
Ewiz does get up there to reset the Inferno Dragon, so... And there you go, the NATO pulls the Mega Knight back, but can he stop the Mega Knight getting on tower? Ram Rider opposite lane, you called it, Andrew. Dual lane pressure. I don't know about the bowler. Feels like it might have been, I guess he was trying to take care of the Bandit, but a lot of damage eaten on the left-hand lane.
Yep, and I honestly believe that's contributed to some of those aggressive graveyards early on in single Elixir. Lindsay was kind of finally able to catch up with that big push. Now that they're even, now this is the moment we get to see if the God RF can take advantage with his most signature deck. Oh wow, a high graveyard to stop probably what he thought might be a Bandit coming in behind this Mega Knight.
And there we go, Ram Rider opposite lane. There's the board to take care of that.
Wow,
wow.
Big push.
RF's in trouble. RF's in a lot of trouble right here. Lindsay playing brilliantly, making some sort of out-of-control moves.
Oh, that was a clean defense, though, my friend.
Wow, hearts are racing here in the OGN Super Arena. RF in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, it does feel like he's playing very uncomfortable at this moment. Mega Knight gets a jump in, not a big deal, not on the weaker tower. However, it does even up the tower damage.
Now RF really forced me playing on both sides and isn't going to be able to save that bowler, so bowler does go down and a Bandit in the back. Right now, Lindsay playing very, very clean Clash Royale.
And finally, the Inferno Dragon for Cream finds its home. Really being incredibly effective against the bowler, the Baby Dragon, and the opponent's Inferno Dragon.
So here we go, bowler high, knowing that his opponent's a little bit low on Elixir. Ooh. This is a big graveyard poison push, able to stop the Ram Rider. This one does not pay off all the way, though. Bandit comes in to support, but pretty nearly evens things up on this left-hand lane.
And the defensive poison from Lindsay was really the reason why the God RF did not take that tower. It seemed like that was going to be the push.
Oh,
wow! The Mega Knight!
The Bar Barrel did not pick up the Mega Knight. It was killed at the bridge, and that's a huge bit of damage here with a minute left. RF is going to need to find something wild. Look, a graveyard deck can steal this game, but you know Lindsay is just sitting on that poison, waiting for it to come out.
Yeah, Lindsay has been playing very, very well this game, and it does appear the streak of the God RF may be ended right now, but as you said, Graveyard can do anything in a very short amount of time.
A lot of bowler damage on the right-hand lane, so, you know, now that tower in a bit of trouble down to 470 in the right-hand lane now is the God RF. Lindsay, 30 seconds, 35 seconds left to win this match. RF, can he come back, or will Lindsay hold off?
And the Inferno Dragon is on the tower, bringing it down to right around 1,000 HP. And you can see, oh wow, I don't know if that NATO went the way he wanted. Now he's got support behind his Ram Rider.
Yeah, RF knows that's how that went bad. That's gonna be tower down. Lindsay gets one back for Cream, ends the reign of terror of the God RF. Take a rest, man, ice your back and let your squad come in and get your team the rest of the way. So at this stage, Andrew, with that slight variation on the Ram Rider Mega Knight deck, Lindsay has now played 10 different decks in 10 different games, which is bananas.
And Lapocati's played 0 different decks in 0 games.
Making his debut, if you were paying attention this weekend, Lapocati finished first and third on ladder at the same time, known as a mortar player. And of course, you see the miner, you're thinking maybe he's going that direction.
And the Bar Barrel could be that new variation. It's been very, very popular with the Dark Goblin, the Rascals, the Bats. I'm feeling it, Rich. I'm feeling good.
Well, we will see if that is the route he's going. Prince into the opposite lane.
Yeah, the the deck variation coming from Lindsay is just astounding and impressive. And it looks like he's going to be going with that deck that the God RF had a lot of success with early on.
Lapakati, just 16 years old, very young, out of Belarus. Trainer Luis very high on this young kid and recruiting him, and likes that he gives him some versatility. Now, part of the recruitment idea behind him was when we still believed there would be bans, that in King of the Hill, you couldn't ban around a Graveyard Master, a Mortar Master, and a Golem Master.
Yes, exactly.
Not the same situation here, but still very, very talented young kid.
You see Lindsay doing an excellent job of picking up those miners, waiting that half second to see where it lands before dropping his E-Wiz. 0 damage coming in on both towers despite 2 miners coming down. Really, really well played on his part.
Yeah, might have been hovering there and just got it off perfectly.
Skeleton's coming down to stop that charge, and Lindsay is playing perfect, just as he did in last game.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful play. Stopping the Mega Knight with the Inferno Tower, miner to the opposite lane, and now Lapakati gets on tower. Now you see the young man wiping his face a whole lot. Gotta wonder if he's feeling the pressure here a bit, first time on the big stage.
I can only imagine. You see 4 elixirs spent there from Lindsay with the snowball and the bar barrel coming down.
Mega Knight in the back, Lindsay, or Lapakati immediately goes Prince opposite lane.
And there is not a lot of other ground responses. Will the Prince get a charge? Yes, it does.
Wow.
A big charge.
Wow, that's a huge moment. Now, there we go. I was wondering if he was going to do something to pick up the Mega Knight up high.
Yep.
Goes with the miner to distract. Ooh. That's a nice lightning, though, here from Lindsay.
That's a big lightning here for Lindsay, but the Ram Rider sneaks in front of the Mega Knight. Perfect defense from Lapakati. The excellent, excellent defensive miner coming down and saving the day.
Heading into double elixir time, into sudden death overtime, and it is the young player for Immortals out to the lead against Lindsay, who has looked nearly unstoppable so far in CRL West.
I do have to say, Lapakati is giving him a run for his money, playing some very, very perfect Clash Royale.
That Baby Dragon, oh, I thought would get some extra splash damage on tower, does not. Miner to the E-Wiz. He predicted it. I predicted what he was doing. It was just prediction city, and Miner does get on tower. Prince not going to do it, but 1381 is a very, very nice lead, about 600 and change here.
Look at the dual lane pressure coming down. The Mega Knight now out of play. The E-Wiz comes down to stop that charge, but that's a very healthy Prince that will get to the tower. At least 1 in from the Lance, maybe 2. Nope.
Bar barrel to pick up, and even with the lightning, that's still going to be a lot of damage on that Mega Knight. Lapakati playing hottie here in game number 4. Yeah, I did it.
It's okay.
2 minutes left. How will Lindsay adjust here to get through the defense and steal this one away from his young opponent?
No skeletons come down. Prince does connect with the charge. Poison down to stop the E-Wiz. A bar barrel will come to meet it as well to keep it off of that Inferno Tower. Snowball got to come in to bounce that Ram Rider back. Great plays from Lapakati. He has all the right moves.
Prince to the back here, or Miner to the back. E-Wiz goes to meet the Miner. Beautiful skeletons there by Lindsay to disrupt that Prince push. And yeah, that was a really nice sequence there from Lindsay. Prevented a lot of damage a lesser player would have taken.
Just over 1 minute left of gameplay here. Who will separate themselves? As of right now, Lapakati does have the lead, and we are in a lowest tower situation.
Ram Rider trying to sneak by. Snowball doing a great job of holding that Ram Rider off. 1 minute left in sudden death overtime.
You've got to get spells on that tower now if you're Lindsay. I know it seems impossible, and honestly, Lapakati's making it impossible for him, but he's got to get some damage on that tower, or else this is going to be a short 2-match set for Cream.
And I was with the high Inferno Tower here. Oh my gosh, Lapakati! No Inferno Tower necessary! Belarus on the map, Lapakati. Welcome to CRL West.
Hands in the palms for Lindsay. He feels that one just got away from him, and that was excellent from Lapakati. The dual lane pressure was relentless. It was ruthless, and now Immortals are 2-0, dethroning the current #1 team and taking it for themselves.
Wow, I mean, the young kid looks so excited. The whole team so pumped for him. You know, you're joining a squad of players who are so well respected, so talented. Last season's North American champions, and your first spot up, you really want to show what you can do. And there you have it. I mean, there's no better way for a young man to step into a squad like this and make his CRL debut.
Trainer Luis has been known for making huge, huge statements about his team and where they're going to end up by the end of the season. And you know what? He backs it up. He's done it in Season 1. They went to World Finals. And now in Season 2, he said that Lapacati is one of the best in the world. He found him, he recruited him, and now Lindsay and Cream are feeling the pain.
Wow, I am just thoroughly stunned by the overall team performance. The God RF, of course, with the run he had to open up these first 2 matches, and then you have the young kid Lapacati stepping up against a surging Lindsay who's been playing almost perfectly to start off this season, and just the way he fought to get back in that one, take control, and not just win on lowest tower, but finish that tower off. Really, really wonderful play by the young kid.
So what I'm starting to think about, what I'm starting to wonder about, I'm a sports fan, and when a team wins, let's say a playoff series in 3 or 4 games, a quick sweep, and their best player never gets out on the field for about a week. Ooh. How is Royal going to be when he finally makes his way to the battlefield? It's now going to be 2 matches, 2 weeks in, and he still hasn't made an appearance.
Is there a little ring rust on the Golem Master? We don't know. We're waiting for the CRL West debut of Royal so far. The guy who at least that sometimes has been the consensus #1 player on the planet hasn't even set foot on a tower. So can't wait to see what he's doing. But with the way the rest of the squad is playing, I mean, you don't need him.
He doesn't have to. I mean, if I'm him, I'm feeling great. I'm sitting back. I'm having a drink. Well, I mean, not quite that much. You know, he's still paying very, very close attention. He's still practicing. But here's the thing. He is their it factor, and he hasn't stepped out on the battlefield yet. So the Immortals now at 2-0, taking out Cream. They are looking dangerous.
And you cannot ignore the performance of Crap. Got memed a little bit last season, or last week, with the play where everyone was like, hey, congratulations, RF, on your 5-game sweep. AC, you're up there checking your DMs or something like that.
Right.
But the way he played today in 2v2, you saw just how focused he was. And the moves, and I'm going to say this again, the moves that they pulled off. Not 2 guys playing Clash Royale next to each other at the same time. The moves they paid off cannot happen without a tandem, without Crap and the God RF together. So, of course, what are we going to do? Head down to the stage where Seltzer is speaking with our winning team.
Now, you are a very aggressive player. Tell me why you play so aggressively.
No, I think against the Cream Sports need me to play very aggressive because he have Mega Knight. He put him, and I push left lane.
Yeah, we saw you split lanes a lot there. Tell me, when do you decide to split a lane? How do you make that choice?
Because I think if I push one lane, my opponents will put cards in this lane, which I push.
All right, it definitely gives you control of the match, and you took that control all the way to victory. We're going to send it on up to the casters now to break it down.
Thanks a lot, Seltzer, and some great insight there from Lapacati. And look, I tried to talk about that high-level CR, and let me say this right now. His English is way better than my Belarusian.
Yeah, and his Clash Royale is better than both of ours combined. And some of the things that you caught in there was that he was very nervous early on. We even both talked about it. He would look like he was sweating at the beginning of the match, but he recognized the over-aggressive Mega Knights in the back, and he pushed the opposite lane. Very well played, Lapacati.
Yeah, and that got a big win in today. Of course, a lot of big wins. Looking at today's scores, we had a fantastic run, opening up with the debut of Thunderstruck against a Complexity fired up to come back and get a big win.
Yeah, Complexity takes the first game 2-1. The next 2 matches are sweeps. Tribe 2-0 over Fnatic, and then Immortals 2-0 over Cream.
unbelievable play by Immortals, as we've already said many times, of course. And this had some big impacts on our standings, especially with the kind of play Immortals put in. Let's take a look where everyone fits after match day 4 is done.
Immortals move up to that very #1 spot, 2-0, followed by Tribe Gaming at 2-1, who just moved up. Cream Esports dropping 2 spots down to 3rd, 2-1. Liquid at 1-0. Pain Gaming at 1-1. And we look at the lower half of our chart. We got Complexity at 1-1, finally getting that win under their belt. Dignitas also even, and Fnatic now falling to 1 and 2. SK yet to make their debut. However, Energy 0-1, Misfits 0-1, and Team Queso 0-2, really looking to find that first W.
Cannot wait to see SK Gaming make their debut. And of course, we have 3 days of Clash Royale. And coming up in one of those days this week, it will be SK debuting against Team Liquid. Of course, we are here Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. Wednesdays 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Saturday and Sunday, 10 in the West, 1 p.m. in the East. And again, it's been so much fun already, and we still haven't seen a team with OP Sam, Morton, SoKing, and Sergio Ramos to face off against Team Liquid, guys. I'm Rich Slayton. That's Andrew Guy. Purple's my best color, but I didn't have it today. We will see you this weekend.
Bye.